The night I first slept with Adrian, everyone assumed I would become Mrs. Hawthorne. I gazed at him, heart glowing, waiting for him to say, "Marry me." Instead he left me with a single icy line, "You're not qualified to be Mrs. Hawthorne," and walked away without looking back. The story rocketed through the city's VIP circles. I became the butt of public ridicule, and the Sterling family was forced to hold our heads up in shame. Crushed, I turned around and flew to France. 3 years later I came home. At a welcome-back dinner a friend had arranged, I met him again and greeted him coolly, "Mr. Hawthorne." While we talked sideways to each other, I missed the flash of pain that crossed his eyes. Later, when word got out that I was engaged to someone else, he raced through the first snowfall, clothes soaked, hair plastered to his forehead. His eyes were red, his voice hoarse, careful, almost begging, "Are you going to abandon me again?" Before we go on, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. On my third day back, Ava threw a party to wash away the jet lag. The guest list was short, just the old inner circle who'd grown up summering in the Hamptons and bidding at the same charity galas. No one expected Adrian to show. When the door swung open and a tall, black leather-jacketed man stepped in, the room inhaled as one. Everyone knew the history, everyone remembered the messy, very public ending. The air congealed for several beats. Ava rushed to smooth it over. "Big brother, what are you doing here? Sit, sit." Adrian swept the sofa with a detached glance, chose the seat farthest from me, and never once looked my way. These people were raised on candlelit benefit dinners and seven-figure silent auctions. They can read a room before the soup course. His chill was a neon warning. Curiosity burned, but 3-year-old scandals stayed buried tonight. No one resurrected a thing. "Serena, I swear I didn't invite him," Ava whispered, leaning in. "He asked what I was doing this morning and I let it slip. I didn't think he'd actually come." I said nothing, just gave a small shake of my head. I'd known avoidance was impossible the moment I touched down at Teterboro. I simply hadn't expected the reckoning to be tonight, in someone else's penthouse, without even a dress rehearsal. We had never officially broken up, we'd simply stopped. Resurrection was never going to be graceful. I glanced at the empty tumbler on the coffee table, stood, and walked straight toward him with a fresh pour. I stopped an arm's length away, eyes locked. He sat cross-legged, swirling a crystal glass, profile sharp, mouth thin, telegraphing "do not approach." I shaped a polite society smile. "Adrian, sorry I'm late." The voice wasn't mine. Before I could speak, a greeting trilled from the doorway. I turned. Vivian, our old boarding school classmate, floated in, white sundress, barely there makeup, camera-ready grin. She brushed past me and settled beside him, claiming the spot that once belonged to me. Sharp intakes hissed around the room, pupils flicked to gauge my reaction. My expression stayed mild, but the nails hidden behind my glass crescented my palm. She tucked her arm through his, intimate, proprietorial. He didn't flinch, instead he softened, eyes glowing the way they once did for me. I had lingered in front of him for minutes without earning even a flick of acknowledgement. It felt like a serrated blade dragged repeatedly across my heart, pain first, then the slow ooze. I remembered Vivian's family scraping for tuition grants. She and Adrian had barely shared a hello at school. So when had the trajectory of their orbits shifted? Then her wrist flashed a band of imperial green, and the question shredded inside me. I recognized it instantly. The Hawthorne jade bangle passed from mother-in-law to daughter-in-law for 3 generations. Only the woman Adrian designated as his wife was allowed to wear it. After our first night together, aching and starry-eyed, I had sneaked it on while he showered, dreaming he would ask. Instead he had yanked it off, snapped, "You're not qualified," and left without a backward glance. Now someone else wore it as casually as a friendship bracelet. A decade of my devotion collapsed into a single, meaningless heap. The chandelier's glare fractured across my lashes, shadow shards pricked my eyes. I closed them, reopened. Adrian angled a doting grin at her, then flicked a glance at me, impatience stamped across his face. My fingers trembled around the glass. I dredged up a ragged smile, voice winter cold. "Mr. Hawthorne, may you and Miss Blackwood enjoy a long, happy marriage." I downed the drink, the room blurred, but I still caught the wince he tried to hide. I escaped to the powder room, planning to leave without goodbyes. After texting Ava, I stood at the mirror and saw Adrian's reflection behind me, jaw clenched, eyes bloodshot. He looked like he'd swallowed broken glass. A few drinks had stained his lashes crimson, and he stared as if the rest of the world had vanished. The VIP restroom sat in a private corridor the Hawthorne family kept on permanent retainer. No strangers, no bodyguards, no sound. I nodded once, intending to sidestep. As I passed, he snagged my elbow and yanked me against him so easily it was insulting. My nose smacked his sternum, involuntary tears sprang up. "Mr. Hawthorne, keep your hands to yourself." I rubbed the bridge of my nose, glaring. He looked exactly as he had 3 years ago, chiseled, aloof, expensive, except for those carnelian eyes betraying how far he'd slipped off the leash. A cold laugh scraped his throat. In one motion he hoisted me onto the marble counter, caging me with his hips. The position screamed intimacy. Panic flared. I kicked, heels drumming the cabinet. "Let go of me, Adrian." "Oh? A minute ago it was polite, Mr. Hawthorne, now we're back to first names?" He clamped my ankle with one hand, dragged me flush against him. Before I could shove, the lights cut out. Someone had tripped the motion sensor. A shaft of hallway glow bled through, painting us in halftone. I squeezed my eyes shut, adjusting. Tobacco and top-shelf whiskey washed over me as he leaned in, breath hot. I planted a palm on his chest and shoved hard. "Adrian, you have a girlfriend, what the hell am I supposed to be?" His face snapped back as if I'd slapped him. Disgust poured in to drown the haze. "What do you think you are? Looking at you makes me sick. Crawl back to France and stay there, permanently." On his way out he lashed a foot at the trash bin, pulverizing it against the wall. If this had happened 3 years ago, Adrian yelling at me to get lost, I would have rolled away at full gallop, then circled back to kick him in the shins. But I can't do that now. My family is on the verge of bankruptcy. This time I came back with no intention of returning to France. I can't go back at all. I'm getting married. When my parents told me, I wasn't surprised, remarkably calm, in fact. Maybe because, ever since I was little, they'd drilled into me that, as the only daughter of the Sterling family, entering a strategic marriage for the family's glory is my destiny. I believed it without question. As for the groom, nothing's settled yet. Mom and Dad are still shopping around. I padded downstairs in my cotton slippers just in time to hear them discussing it. After weighing every option, the Hawthorns still come out on top. Too bad about that boy Adrian. My father sighed, then fell silent for a long moment. I pressed my lips together. The Hawthorne family is deeply entrenched in Manhattan. They hold absolute authority across every industry. Every social climber in the city courts them. Adrian is the sole heir of his generation. Practically every family with a daughter dreams of marrying her to him. From the moment I could remember, my parents had picked Adrian as my future husband. To prepare, I bought a leather-bound journal and filled it with 986 facts about him. Adrian's favorite color is white. He loves basketball. He's a neat freak and hates anyone touching his things. To match his tastes, my closet hung nothing but white dresses in every cut and fabric. While other girls studied ballet or piano, I also learned to shoot hoops. Luckily, everything went smoothly. We dated, even reached the brink of engagement. Both sets of parents were delighted with the match. Then, after our first night together, he suddenly abandoned me. For the next 2 weeks he didn't call once. Overnight, I became the laughingstock of Manhattan. Good breeding left me no choice but to leave, so I went to France. I dragged my thoughts back to the present. My parents' voices floated toward me again. "I hear the Carringtons brought that boy Ellis back 3 years ago." I didn't pay much attention. The name Ellis sounded faintly familiar. Probably some heir I'd met at a gala, nothing special. Time in Manhattan flew. A week disappeared in the blink of an eye. While Ava and I were having lunch, we ran into the very Ellis my parents had mentioned. He strode into a private dining room, tall and sharply cut in a black business suit. My gaze followed instinctively. Ava caught it and jumped in. "That's our senior from high school, you've met him." I looked away, brows knitting as I tried to recall that face. "It's Carrington Chen, remember? Rumor said he was the Carringtons' illegitimate son. They acknowledged him 2 years ago." The pieces clicked. Ellis was Carrington Chen. Bit by bit I superimposed the long-legged man who walked like a storm onto that quiet, taciturn boy. According to Ava, old man Carrington fetched Ellis home himself 3 years ago, right after I'd left for France, which explained why I'd missed it. Once inside Carrington Capital he moved like lightning, and within months seized the top seat. The board fought him hard, but the patriarch silenced them with one wave of his cane. Ellis delivered. Under him the company's market cap doubled. Nowadays Carrington Power rivals Hawthorne, and no one dares raise an eyebrow. Add to that his ice-cold temperament, he's notorious for avoiding scandals, and his ruthless business style, and the entire city keeps its distance. Listening, a few memories flashed through my mind. Come to think of it, Ellis and I share a history that's anything but ordinary. After lunch, Ava climbed into her chauffeured car. I made an excuse to stay behind. Fresh lipstick applied, I stepped out of the restroom just as a rich, mellow voice drifted over. Serena, long time no see. I turned and looked up. He stood in a perfectly tailored suit, tall and ramrod straight. Light flooded the restaurant, soft music curling in the air. A fringe of hair brushed the hard line of his brow, his eyes fixed on me. We chatted lightly, then Ellis offered to drive me home. I didn't refuse, giving him the address of my midtown penthouse. He hadn't had a drink, so he took the wheel himself. As we glided through the city, my phone buzzed. Vivian. Serena, I know you and Adrian once had the city's most talked about romance, but I'm his fiancé now. These 3 years while you were gone, I stayed by his side and helped him through every low. He slept with you, then tossed you aside, nothing but spoiled goods to him. Now that you're back, show some pride and stop throwing yourself at our life. I stared at the neon streaking past the window and smiled down at the screen. Once, everyone in Manhattan knew that Adrian kept Serena on the pedestal of his heart. Whoever disrespected me, intention or accident, reappeared at galas covered in bruises. At every party I shone brightest, courted by constellations. But times change. The woman beside Adrian now carries a different name. The Sterling heiress? Just a pair of worn-out shoes the Hawthorne prince discarded. Without Hawthorne's shelter, the Sterling Group is months from collapse. Soon pride will force my proud head to bow. Maybe I'll end up a plaything for some Park Avenue heir. I'd heard the whispers, every poisonous word. They filled me with rage, yet left me nothing to refute. Those 3 years abroad were brutal. The arrogance I was born with had been ground down to almost nothing. Before blocking Vivian, I screenshotted her final message. A photo of Adrian lying unconscious beside her collarbone, kiss marks blooming across her skin. His mouth smeared crimson, clearly fresh from another round of passion. My heart lurched. Fingers clutching the phone trembled. I saved the image anyway. At last the car stopped. Ellis turned to me. Serena, we're here. Still facing away, I saw his reflection in the window blur into the face that had confessed to me drunk that night long ago. My long dead pulse flared searing hot, and the words slipped out without permission. Ellis, that thing you said that night, is the offer still open? The instant the door clicked shut behind us, kisses rained down fierce and thick. He cupped my face, pinning me against the hardwood. In public he kept himself under iron discipline. Now every scrap of restraint dissolved, hunger flooding the room. Off came my coat, my scarf. His misted eyes, shining with longing, traveled slowly from my gaze to my lips. Then he bent, cool thin lips capturing mine, tongue gliding in to tangle with mine. Fireworks detonated behind my eyelids, my knees buckled. Ellis caught my waist and held me upright. Next thing I knew, I was in his arms, weightless. When my back met the mattress, fear finally caught up. I'm scared it'll hurt. Ellis, be gentle. My first time had been anything but tender. Terror knotted inside me. As my nails bit my palms, he threaded our fingers. Serena, relax. That low magnetic voice soothed every clenched muscle. He didn't rush. Instead his long fingers grazed my waist. A current sizzled through me, and I shivered. Heat gathered slick between my thighs, my cheeks burned. He lowered his head, kissing me deeply as he pressed forward. The air thickened with musk, starving me of oxygen. Exhaustion swept me fast. I surrendered to his tireless hunger. Besides exhaustion, there didn't seem to be any pain, utterly different from the times Adrian had taken me with fury. Ellis, aren't you supposed to be notorious for avoiding scandals? I whispered. So, Serena, are the rumors true or not? Ellis chuckled softly. I shot him a playful glare. The dim, shifting light skimmed across the perfect angle of his face, and in his tender eyes I saw myself reflected, like a shy bud unfurling. On the glass, our silhouettes swayed, drenched in spring rain, petal and drizzle pressed together until the image blurred. When everything finally stilled, a long silence settled in. The shrill ring of my phone woke me. Adrian's icy voice greeted me. Serena, if you want to be Mrs. Hawthorne, it's not impossible. Penthouse. Serve me well and the title's yours. My brain was still booting up. Perhaps because I no longer cared, I felt no rush, no thrill, no delight. I glanced at the empty space beside me, a twinge of loss tugging at me. The sheets retained a faint warmth. He must have slipped out for breakfast. A glass of lukewarm water waited on the nightstand. When the liquid hit my stomach it spread a gentle heat, clearing the fog in my head. Realization dawned. Adrian was just amusing himself at my expense. I was about to hang up when a syrupy female voice drifted through the speaker. Adrian, who are you talking to? Hand me my bath towel, Vivian. The cryptic texts from last night flashed through my mind, stoking a nameless anger. I might no longer be the sterling heiress of old, but I wasn't some puppet to be jerked around. One had told me to get lost, the other demanded I come running. I refused to dance for either. For the first time in my life I shouted at Adrian, "Adrian! I don't give a damn about being Mrs. Hawthorne. Whoever wants the crown can have it, just leave me alone, and you make me sick. Even the sound of your voice turns my stomach." The moment the words left my lips, years of suffocating resentment exhaled with them. I slipped into a blush-pink silk cheapao, applied the perfect flush of makeup, then wound a scarf over the faint rose marks on my neck. Winter in Manhattan made the wrap unremarkable. Ellis came back bearing my favorite sugar-dusted crullers. I took a bite and looked up. His nose was red, stray snowflakes dusting his hair. While we'd slept, the first snowfall had blanketed the city. I drew the curtains, silver rooftops and swirling flakes stretched as far as I could see. Adrian stared at the dead phone long after the call ended. Finally he laughed, half genuine amusement, half fury. The echo of Serena's voice rang in his ears. "I think you're dirty, you disgust me." He had never hurled those accusations at her, yet she'd beaten him to it. He hadn't touched another woman since they'd split. How was he dirty? Then it hit him, was she jealous? Women only lash out when they still care. His mood lifting, he strode from the lounge into the suite, a smile tugging at his lips. The moment he stepped inside, a friend's casual remark struck like lightning. "Hey, check this out, Serena has a new boyfriend." "Who?" That was fast. "Dunno, you can only see half his back, but the guy's even taller than Hawthorne." Adrian crossed the room in 3 furious paces, face dark as a thunderhead. Silence crashed over the group. He snatched the phone. The screen showed Serena beaming at the camera, behind her a man hunched over a tablet, working. Warm, domestic, unmistakably intimate. Then Adrian spotted the faint rose bruise on her neck. His knuckles cracked as his fists clenched, a slow tremor running through him. Something he'd treasured had been touched by another. His heart felt sliced, raw. The caption, "May we grow old together beneath the first snowfall," stabbed straight through him. She had once wished that every first snowfall she'd be by his side, now she promised forever to someone else. He tossed the phone onto the sofa and stalked out, face as cold as frost. Vivian had watched from the doorway. Her clear voice rang after him, "Adrian, are you going to her? Do you still love her? After what happened 3 years ago, does none of it matter?" Each word slammed into him like a spell. He froze mid-step. Did it truly no longer matter? 3 years ago, on the eve of a scheduled trip to LA, he'd secured her passport early. At the last second she'd pled exhaustion and begged off. He hadn't insisted. He'd rushed through the week-long inspection in 4 days, desperate to return. Yet the moment he landed he learned she'd spent the night in Greenwich, with Ellis, the classmate she'd publicly defended more than once. He'd swallowed the truth, hoping she'd confess, but she'd looked him in the eye and insisted she'd stayed home. Weeks later Vivian laid irrefutable Polaroids before him. Serena relaxed against Ellis's shoulder, utterly at ease, as though savoring final moments before a separation. Later, in a bitter frenzy, Adrian had taken her. The pristine sheets held no virginity stain. In that instant he was certain her heart belonged not to him but to the Hawthorne name. Strip away his power and she'd flee straight into Ellis's arms. He minded that another man still lived in her heart. He minded that what she loved was the dynasty, not the man. He minded that she'd lied, slipped away, and given her first night to Ellis. Feeling the old wound split open, Adrian stayed away. Winter in Manhattan was brutal. The world lay buried under heavy white quilts. Inside the Southampton estate the heat blasted, cocooning them from the cold. Ellis sat on the sofa, posture respectful, priceless betrothal gifts arrayed beside him, 10% of Carrington Capital, gifted. My parents stared at the share transfer documents, stunned. Only when the grandfather clock finished its 12th chime did they recover. They exchanged incredulous glances, then looked again at Ellis, who inclined his head with quiet certainty. "Mr. and Mrs. Sterling, I've come to ask for Serena's hand. If my etiquette is lacking, forgive me." "No, no, perfect," they exclaimed, beaming, and the marriage was set for the 9th of next month. In a city of 8 million, society was a village. News swept through hedge fund tables and private school WhatsApp chats alike, finally reaching Adrian. He leaned against the billiard table as indolent as ever, as though the headline had bounced off him. Only when ash from his cigarette burned his knuckles did he speak. When? His tone was flat, only the fleeting rasp betrayed him. Friends knew. The reckless prince of Hawthorne Holdings lost his cool the instant Serena's name surfaced. Couple of days ago. The Sterlings are already planning the wedding. A humorless laugh scraped from Adrian's throat. Eyes lowered, he drawled, who else could Serena marry but me? The answer quavered back, Ellis, the man who controls Carrington Capital. The next second, Adrian lunged forward, seizing his friend by the collar. What? Say that again, Serena's marrying who? The kid's face turned white. Ellis, the head of the Carrington family. The room snapped to silence. Adrian flung the guy away. His knees buckled, he staggered back a step, then another. It felt like 1,000 needles skewering his heart, he couldn't breathe. Across the room, a mirrored screen flashed his own reflection, eyes bloodshot, face savage. He snatched the nearest ashtray and hurled it at the glass. Thunderous crash, shards exploded, skittering across the polished floor. Every cue stick froze midair. Every head snapped toward him. Shock and terror, uniform and absolute. Adrian roared, "Eyes on me and you'll lose them." He strode out, shoulders cutting through the stillness. Behind him, under the chandelier, Vivian watched, beautiful, motionless, poison cold. By the time he reached my apartment, it was well past midnight. The elevator was dead, he must have climbed. Snow still powdered his hair, untouched by the building's warmth, a fleeting crown of white. I opened the door and froze. His collar gaped, tie askew, stubble shading his jaw. He breathed hard, like he'd sprinted the final stairs. I pressed my lips together, the picture of crisp, immaculate Adrian crumbling in my mind. A ridiculous thought flickered, I swatted it away. Then he stepped forward, folded me into the circle of his arms, and the thought roared back, confirmed. Serena, I won't let you marry Ellis. You're mine. No outsider touches what's mine, not while I'm breathing. Even wrecked, he sounded every inch the Hawthorne air, arrogant, impossible. But I'm not property, I'm a person with a will. Tears betrayed me, blurring everything. I shoved him away and swung. The slap cracked across his cheek. He stood stunned, a red print blooming on his skin. It wasn't enough. Memories stormed in, the nights in Paris, the pitying whispers, the jokes about the girl dumped at 19. He knew every cut he'd allowed, every rumor he never denied, waiting for me to crawl back first. 3 years of bottled hurt detonated. Who do you think you are, Adrian? 3 years ago you refused to give me your name, left me a punchline. Now you barge in at midnight and forbid me to wed someone else. Tell me, exactly how do you want me to live? I wiped my cheeks, voice shaking. Listen carefully, who I marry is my choice, not yours. Seeing my tears, he went hollow, throat working. When he finally spoke it was barely a whisper. If I said I love you, if I'm ready to marry you right now, would you pick me over Ellis? Give me one more chance? I didn't answer. I walked to my dresser, slid open the drawer, and lifted the velvet box. Inside rested the priceless pink diamond ring he'd given me the night I turned 18. I wore a silk gown and a tiara. He kissed my forehead like a vow. Serena, he'd whispered, the day you're legal, I'll trade this for the wedding band. All these years I'd kept it safe. Now it belonged back with him. I extended the box. His fingers trembled so badly the velvet shook. He understood, my silence was final. Half a minute passed before he raised his head, laughing at himself, bitter, hoarse. So, you're abandoning me again. He left, shoulders curved inward, swallowed by the corridor's darkness. I watched until even the echo of his steps vanished, heart aching with something I refused to name. Everyone knows he walked away first, yet he looked the more wounded. There has to be more to the story, something I haven't been told. When I woke, groggy afternoon light painted the blinds. Messages from a high school friend waited on my phone. She'd heard I was back, suggested we meet at the Hot Spring Lodge in Southampton to catch up. I meant to refuse, Sterling Holdings is hemorrhaging and every hour counts, but she added, almost offhand, I actually know a few things about what happened senior year. Truth, sweet, seductive, hovered inches away. The estate was only an hour's drive. I agreed. Before stepping out, I texted Ellis my location and asked him to collect me later. Call when you're done, he replied. I tugged my cashmere sweater tighter and pushed through the cedar door. Steam rolled across the pool, my friend perched on the ledge, already in her bikini. Serena, over here, long time no see. We exchanged quick hugs. I changed into a strapless maillot and slid into the water. Heat slipped over skin like silk, muscles unclenching. Small talk exhausted, I cut to the chase. She pouted. Geez, Serena, we haven't seen each other in years and you jump straight to gossip. Can't we enjoy the soak first? Her gaze flickered, too fast, too nervous. I chalked it up to her old theatrics and humored her. She floated a fresh cup of mountain tea toward me. I sipped, dew-fed leaves left a lingering sweet note. When I set the cup down, I caught her staring at its rim, then jerking her eyes away. A shadow rippled behind the bamboo curtain, someone else's outline. My pulse spiked. I clenched a fist beneath the water. Who? Why? I forced a breezy smile. Didn't you just have a baby? I spotted the smartest designer stroller, perfect godmother gift. Remember, your little bean has to call me mama number 2. I paddled to the steps, legs suddenly soft as wax. Nails biting my palms kept me upright. I snagged my phone and speed dialed Ellis. It rang once before a hand shot out, snatched the cell, and flung it into the pool. Water swallowed the screen, my reflection wavered, warped, gone. I squinted but shapes blurred. A moment later the phone hissed and died, as did the last of my hope. Arms like sandbags hoisted me from behind. I caught a whiff of cheap whiskey before the world flipped. I landed on a mattress, door slamming like a gunshot. A voice purred above me, familiar, venomous. I warned you not to throw yourself at him again. Mrs. Hawthorne gets only one face, and it's mine. Vivian? I felt her smile more than saw it. Sleep tight, darling. Footsteps retreated. The bolt shot home. Darkness closed in. Vivian stood at the foot of the bed, her gaze looking down on Serena's unconscious face. The expression she wore was vicious and twisted. Her hand gripped the camcorder so tightly it shook from time to time, betraying how thrilled she felt right then. She was curious. Would the princess who had always been surrounded by admirers still lift her chin in pride after being stamped into the mud? Recalling the past years, Vivian's eyes glistened with excited tears. From a remote mountain village to the Hawthorne mansion in Manhattan, she had stumbled and crawled for 6 years. They shared the same birthday. Serena could wear an expensive princess gown in the middle of a crowd, bathe in congratulations and praise, while gifts so costly Vivian wouldn't dare dream of them were piled carelessly in a corner. She, meanwhile, could only hide in the unlit places no one noticed, a sly rat peeping at another girl's happiness. It wasn't fair. Even then she had secretly vowed she would climb upward step by step with her own effort. She would steal Serena's friends, steal the Adrian was proudest of. Then she, too, would become a princess others envied. Perhaps heaven thought her first 18 years had been too bitter. For once in her life, her wish came true. Serena was dumped by Adrian and became the laughingstock of Manhattan's elite. After Serena fled overseas, Vivian seized the chance to draw near to Adrian. 3 years of quiet companionship later, she was finally publicly introduced as his girlfriend. She wore the jade bangle reserved for Mrs. Hawthorne and became the respected big sister everyone in their circle bowed to, but she knew none of it had been coincidence. It had been engineered, inevitable. 3 years ago, she had tipped Ellis off that Serena was spending the night at a country estate upstate. Long observation had told her those two were anything but simple. Only because of Adrian had they kept their feelings buried. She had assumed a lone man and woman in one villa would lose control, yet the pair had merely talked the whole night. Seeing such a rare opportunity, how could she bear to waste it? She shot several misleading photos from different angles and mailed them all, anonymously, to Adrian. But she had underestimated his reach. The next day he found her. Face cold, he forced her to delete every picture. Boundless defeat had closed in on her then. She had readied herself for the worst. Still, she didn't give up. She secretly slipped a drug into Serena's water. That made it impossible for blood to stain the sheets on the couple's first night. This tiny act became the fuse that blew them apart. Now, about to become the envied Mrs. Hawthorne, she had seen Serena fly home and wreck every plan. How could she not hate? If Serena had stayed far away from Adrian, she might have let her live, but the woman insisted on defying her, so much so that Adrian abandoned her, Vivian, in the dead of night. In that instant, murder crossed her mind. If Adrian could still accept Serena, it was only because he had never seen the woman fall into filth. This time she would personally hurl Serena into the abyss. She would make Adrian loathe her. Ellis was in the middle of a crucial board meeting when Serena's call came. Almost by sixth sense he knew something was wrong. Ignoring his chief assistant, he suspended the meeting. Striding to the garage, he redialed while he walked. The unanswered ring confirmed his guess. His temples throbbed the whole way. What was usually a 30-minute drive from Midtown to the estate he tore through in 5, running every red light. When he burst in, his heart nearly leapt from his throat. The hotel suite was chaos. The moment he spotted her, his eyes reddened. Serena lay on the bed, unconscious. Water dripped from her hair. Shards of glass were buried deep in her palm, a shocking sight. Her cheeks were swollen, blood at the corner of her mouth, clearly beaten while fighting back. The door crashed open just as a beefy, pig-faced man was fumbling with his belt. Who the hell ruins a man's fun? He twisted around, annoyed. Ellis crossed the room in 2 steps, grabbed the man's collar, and punched with killing force. He worked out every week, hard chest, carved abs, plus a height advantage. He slammed the man's head against the wall again and again. Thud, thud, thud. Each impact struck the heart of Vivian, frozen in place. The camcorder in her hand was still recording. Suddenly the air felt heavier. A chill crawled over her limbs. She turned slowly. Adrian's livid face filled her vision. Cold sweat soaked her back. She knew. She was finished. Everything was finished. Only when Adrian dragged her to the Hawthorne basement for underground punishment did Vivian see the man clearly. He was savage, violent, merciless. When he pressed a red-hot iron to her skin, he didn't blink. The stench of scorched flesh rose and his eyes showed no pity, only disgust. She finally realized he had never loved her. She had never stepped into his heart. She had never even stood on equal ground with him. Watching Adrian go insane for Serena, she understood her own stupidity. These 3 years had been a joke. In the end, she spilled every detail with a sneer. So be it, she thought. Her birth itself had been a farce. Trading her life for the 3 years they'd lost, no loss at all. The truth hit Adrian like a lightning strike. The iron slipped from his hand and clanged to the floor. He breathed in ragged gulps, chest heaving as if his heart might burst through bone. Shock, disbelief, his face was frozen. He stood paralyzed, thunderstruck. The room was silent, deathly silent. The air still reeked. His throat burned with acid. He wanted to vomit. He didn't know how he climbed those stairs. Each step felt like knives carving his heart. He crossed the yard outside the estate. Snow flew like goose feathers, blotting out the sky. Bone-deep cold gripped Manhattan. His stare was hollow as he gazed into the distance. Servants called his name but he heard nothing. Time slipped away. Snow piled on his shoulders and hair before his knees finally buckled and he collapsed. So, he had misunderstood Serena for 3 years. He could have had her. Instead he shoved her away, straight into Ellis's arms. His own filthy mind had stained her and cost them everything. He was the one who deserved to die. White blanketed the world, nothing else could be seen. He dared not think how he would live the rest of his days without her. He had brought this on himself, and heaven was crushing him for it. The price was losing Serena forever. I woke in a hospital room. Ellis sat beside the bed. The instant my lashes lifted, his bloodshot eyes lit up. "Serena, you're awake." I gave a small nod. The moment I tried to speak, my throat burned as if packed with embers. He sprang up, fetched a glass of lukewarm water, and held it to my lips. I sipped. The sting eased a little. I looked up, eyes blazing for the truth. His own reddened at once and he soothed me again and again. Nothing happened, nothing at all. I exhaled in relief. Propped on the pillow, I let him tell me everything. When he finished, my face stayed calm, betraying nothing. Only the hands beneath the quilt kept twisting the sheet. Ellis couldn't hold back. "Do you regret it?" "Regret what?" "Missing your chance with Adrian because of a misunderstanding." I paused, lids lowered. I weighed the question carefully. Ellis watched me, catching every flicker. A few seconds later I lifted my gaze to the clock on the opposite wall. The hour hand had just slid past 12. I shook my head. "See? A new day has already started. We keep moving forward." That night, snow whispered over Manhattan all the way till dawn. Ellis and I fell asleep in each other's arms. When sunlight arrived the next morning, it felt unusually warm. Spring wind brushed my face, everything was stirring back to life. Spring had come. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you liked it, please thumbs up and share with friends. We look forward to your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time. The day Julian got engaged to his first love, I strolled into his office and slapped my resignation letter on the desk. Overnight I disappeared. Julian dialed my phone until his battery died, hired a private investigator, and was 2 seconds from filing a missing person report while I was 2,000 miles south, sketching bloom calendars for my new courtyard garden and ending every night with a golden at hibiscus. Life was ridiculously lush, until a guest's vacation post caught my blurry profile and the tiny and-eyed christened bloom went viral. That afternoon the sky cracked open, rain sheeted down and every camellia in my eternal spring yard hung its head. Before we keep going, smash subscribe and drop a comment telling us where you're listening from. While Julian and Grace toasted their engagement, I was home cross-legged on the rug, poking at my resignation email. Therefore sounds fake, delete. My groupie/minion Molly blew up my phone. "Liana, Cameron's getting hitched and the bride is not you." Ellis for the heads up. "They're saying you'll be booted next. Don't lose to that damsel act." I corrected her. First love, sweetheart, pure, perfect, blinding first love. Everyone knows Grace is the white rose Julian could never put down. Also, I've already been placed on administrative leave. But you were framed. I cut her off with a quick yeah. Julian didn't believe me. What's the point if the rest of the planet does? I went back to the keyboard. Molly's voice sharpened. You're seriously leaving? I nodded, remembered she couldn't see, and added a soft aha. She wailed, if you walk it'll look like guilt. You're tossing years of hustle for nothing. I studied my fingernails and shook my head. Molly didn't get it. This wasn't a tantrum, it was an evacuation. Ping, sent. My name is Liana. I grew up in Riverdale and figured out early I was different. I never minded. Lucky me, other kids got moms and dads. I got Auntie Mom, the woman who gave me my name. Liana, good karma. Their children were marched to piano lessons. I picked plants and taught myself by mud pie apprenticeship. Basically, I upgraded a hobby to a talent, then a major, and crash-landed into agricultural college while repotting marigolds. Plan A, happy little gardener. Enter Plan B. Back then Julian wasn't yet Cameron, just a brooding sophomore. Blame me. Storm warning, lab windows open. I sprinted over and got trapped by the downpour. No umbrella, no roommates in sight. I prepared to sprint. He drifted by under a giant black canopy. Hey! Share the roof? I yelled. He flicked me a glance and kept walking. Just to the main path, rescue a stranger. Maybe the desperation sounded sincere. He pivoted. When he saw my face he stalled, startled. Moonlight making me a goddess? Doubtful, but I'd take dry. Quinn, I'll walk you. Sweet. I fished a baby begonia from my tote. Ellis, flowers for the hero. Pass. I'm allergic. Figures, we'd never vibe. Ever notice how once you meet someone you keep colliding? We slid from strangers to daily fixtures. I learned he studied management at the Ivory penthouse next door and that his family owned half the port. I also learned I was the stand-in. Campus gossip said Grace and I could be twins. The first time his frat brother saw me he blurted, "You look just like Grace." Wait, can I say that? Who? Grace, Julian's childhood fiancée. She ditched him for Juilliard and he's still not over it. Realizing the overshare, he cringed. Forget I spoke. I waved it off. Good thing we were only buddies. Later we upgraded to constant brunch dates, late-night walks, and overlapping armrests. Everyone assumed we were a couple, half the time so did I. I never asked the body double question. Years of tending daisies had taught me pick while the sun shines. Life is short, collect the joy. At graduation he offered me a job as his assistant. Translation, he was inheriting an empire and wanted me along for the ride. Free gourmet meals and balcony space for seedlings? Deal. He became Cameron, I became Emery. Objectively, Julian treated me well, classic slow boil. After he drove to Riverdale to meet Auntie Mom and the kids, my heart did a slow swivel. He'd stop at the bubble tea stand and bring me the gross sweet flavors he hated. Under duress he'd sit in a grimy noodle shop, pass me napkins while I inhaled chili oil, and mutter about table manners. I called him tasteless, he called me unladylike. Fair trade. 2 weeks of overtime shifts earned my rant against corporate overlords. This time he played along, raise incoming. Still, murder crossed my mind. I voted for the rom-com. He countered with black and white existentialism. I sighed, romance? He said, you wouldn't get it. His ringtone was Chopin. I told him it sounded like a funeral. You wouldn't get it. For my birthday he wrapped up a Ballade Pour Adeline vinyl. I stormed in waving the sleeve. Julian, you seriously gifting me homework? Exposure therapy, listen until you understand. My smile died the second I slit the paper. Adeline I didn't get, but holding his head under the drinking fountain sounded doable. Apparently the problem was always me, apparently he was always thinking of her. Fine, everyone's haunted by somebody. Dr. Chin sings about the unreachable forever shimmering. Auntie Mom preaches that hearts are earned, not wished for. Since he was technically my boyfriend, I doubled the kindness. Maybe intensity would blur Grace out. He'd skip meals running Vance, so I packed tomorrow's bento, nutrient-dense if not Michelin star. If cocktails were on the calendar, I tagged along as drink shield or designated boot under the table. At worst I poured him a honey chaser and poured myself back into the night. Not to mention anything else, but after countless client dinners my tolerance had crept up and I was pulling drink shield duty more often than not. At first Julian would refuse, but later, maybe the room was too hot, the vibe too good, he forgot, and eventually he stopped objecting at all. If it hadn't been for the night my stomach burned, I'd have fancied myself some kind of alcohol prodigy. Side by side, man and woman, we were unbeatable. Until the night we both drank too much. Our glances slid into tenderness, our hair tangled while we leaned close. Probably my brain crashed, because at the crucial moment I asked, "Julian, who am I?" Julian must have been truly hammered. He stared at me blankly, as if only then recognizing me, then shoved me away. "Sorry, Liana. Take tomorrow off." Oops, my almost catch got away. Oops, my bottled up question still burst out. For the next several days we weren't alone together once. I waited for him to apologize and explain. No idea what he was waiting for. Clueless straight man. I could freeze him out, but work was still work. Business is business, that's my rule. We crashed through deadlines for days until everyone was dizzy. Then, miracle of miracles, Julian announced he had plans and there'd be no overtime shift. The coworkers with kids and dinners to keep stampeded for the exit. Me? I had no family waiting, so I might as well milk the corporate overlord for extra pay. "They're all gone, why are you still here?" a familiar voice asked. "Julian's chatterbox buddy. Didn't expect you." "He's out, said he had something," I answered, chewing chips while binge watching. "Yeah, tonight's the welcome party we threw for Grace, I'm just grabbing his gift," the idiot blurted, brain-to-mouth filter completely absent. So Grace was back. So that's what Julian's something was. Why didn't he tell me? How could he not tell me? Grace was back, flaunting her pride and Julian's affection. She obviously knew I existed and obviously didn't care. The first time she came for him she gave me a syrupy smile. I heard abroad that Julian had hired an assistant who looks just like me. One look and I knew it was you. We could be twins. Too bad I'm an only child. Do you have brothers or sisters? All of them your spitting image? Oh right, I heard you studied plants. Next time our garden's a mess I'll beg your green thumb. I laughed. No problem. My rates are fair, I'll give you a discount. Miss Whitmore, I'll even gift you a pot of elegant, pristine white lotus, it suits you perfectly, just remind me. Fuming, Grace snapped, "Stop with the sarcasm. Knowing plants is useless, Julian's allergic. But he loves hearing me play, he attends every recital." "Can you?" I shook my head. "I can't. But playing piano and growing flowers aren't high and low arts. The difference is you play to please Julian, while I garden to please myself. Spare me." "You think I don't know you like him?" "But he likes me, you're just his assistant." I couldn't get a word in before her sneer cut me off. "I've asked him repeatedly about us, he's never once called you his girlfriend." She strutted away, she had the capital to do it. I wasn't Julian's girlfriend? No wonder he'd never initiated, never refused. No wonder I waited for an explanation, he'd never acknowledged me in the first place. Ridiculous, in the end it was all mirage and dashed hopes, tears blurring the dream. I'd stopped being myself, that shouldn't have happened. I don't know what Grace told Julian, but that afternoon he actually sought me out. Don't spook Grace with random nonsense, she overthinks. A match made in jerk heaven. Work continued, yet Julian never approached me alone again, while Grace happily played peacock. She dumped the coffee I brewed, calling it cheap. Fine, one less chore, drink it or don't. Hearing I used to bring Julian homemade lunches, Grace whined that she wanted some too. Julian gave in and asked if I could pack an extra portion. I rolled my eyes so hard I saw sky. "So I'm their flirting prop now?" "Sure. $100 a plate, firm price, minimum order too, deal." How had I ever crushed on this rich idiot? That night I loaded the boxes with cilantro and fishmint herb, no idea if Grace minded, but Julian definitely hated both. Grace stole chunks of my assistant workload and Julian back, and now she wanted my little planter. Calling it little insulted it, since it had never held a plant. This time Grace pointed at the empty mini terracotta pot beside my laptop. "Cute pot, Taylor. You're not using it, just give it to me." No way. Putting aside how sick I was of this damsel act, I'd thrown that pot myself, side by side with Julian. He'd shaped the rough body, I'd refined it. After the studio kiln, I'd spent 2 weekends layering the glaze. I refused, so of course Grace insisted, she had to have that exact one. Mid-bicker, Julian appeared. "Julian, Taylor's terracotta pot is adorable, but she babies it so much she won't even let me look. Talk some sense into her," Grace cooed, eyes taunting me while she tugged his sleeve. Julian flushed slightly and eased his arm free, but he couldn't bear to shame her. "Taylor, Grace rarely likes something so much," he began, then stalled, apparently even he couldn't utter, so handed over with a straight face. "How about sending her the link so she can pick a style herself?" Grace's face fell, mine curdled. The man was gifted, one sentence, 2 women offended. Blockhead, he missed that Grace's target wasn't the pot but me, and he'd forgotten we'd made the thing together. Emery versus Grace, insider versus outsider, clear as day. He didn't know, had never cared. Why was I wrestling with myself? Pointless. This one's chipped and filthy, hardly suitable for Miss Whitmore. I tossed it in the trash. The link? Long expired. If Grace wants one so badly, Cameron, hunt it down yourself. Another bitter, useless exit. Sparring without victory felt awful. People say plants are heartless and humans sentimental. Wrong. Flowers and succulents are far more lovable. After that, Grace actually stayed away for a while, and I enjoyed the peace. But the good days didn't last. The month-long overtime grind on our RFP bid went up in smoke. The others didn't know, but I did. This wasn't supposed to happen. We'd all been buddy-buddy, arms around shoulders, clinking glasses, and yet at the last second someone still managed to rob us blind. Liana, get in here. Even with Julian's mood soured these past few days, he'd never used that tone on me. A bad premonition slithered up my spine. Liana, I'm asking you straight, have you ever leaked our confidential bid floor to anyone? I jerked my head up, an icy chill in my chest. Julian, the man I'd walked shoulder to shoulder with, actually suspected I'd sell the company out. Taylor, I never thought you'd bite the hand that feeds you. Of course she was everywhere. I've never told a single person outside. Before I could finish, Grace cut in, voice syrupy and sharp, but I heard it was a profile pic of a little flower that let the cat out. Isn't that you? I inhaled slowly, reminding myself not to argue with idiots. Solving the problem came first. Heard from whom, Miss Whitmore? You sure love sticking your nose in other people's business. Julian's face darkened instantly. Enough, Liana. You have no right to speak to Grace like that. If Chairman Zhang weren't an old friend of her father, do you think he'd even look at our proposal? Right, so now he wanted to lecture me about qualifications. No qualifications? You throw Grace a welcome bash while I pull an overtime shift alone, and I have no qualifications. My fists clenched. So what, should I be grateful he let me take the fall? Answer me, do you believe me or not? Everyone else could doubt me, but not Julian. I stared hard, searching his eyes for a sliver of trust. There was none. See for yourself. He slid his phone across the desk. On the screen, an anonymous text showed my avatar transferring data files. Fury boiled over into a laugh. If you fall for such a cheap trick, then I misjudged you. Beauty truly destroys brains. Since Grace came back, Julian had turned into a blockhead. Liana, Julian's already spared you a public interrogation, so don't. Watching them echo each other made me sick. I yanked the office door open with a bang. Cameron, I don't need your so-called face-saving. Whether I did it, you may not know, but I do. I was placed on administrative leave, Julian's decision based on the evidence and company bylaws. Fair and unbiased, supposedly. Fine, Julian was accountable to everyone except me. Since graduation I'd slaved for him, I hadn't had a life of my own in ages. The suspension felt great, especially not having to watch their lovey-dovey routine. Only Molly wouldn't let my ears rest, delivering frontline gossip daily. Liana, you should have seen it, little Lotus has been playing Lady of the Manor, ordering us around, no to this, ban that. She might as well run the place herself, but today she did us one favor, she's giving a recital, so Cameron finally gave us the afternoon off. Idle time breeds memories. I remembered my birthday night, begging Julian to stay with me. He'd refused, claiming work. My phone vibrated, yanking me back. Emery, tonight is my recital. You probably don't want to come, but Julian's planning to propose on stage, and I still want to share our happiness with you. Malice dressed as courtesy. Go, I told myself, let the misguided fool in me wake up for good. Auntie Mama always said, admitting mistakes is the first step to fixing them. I'd been wrong, and I would correct it. I arrived on time. From a lonely corner I watched my first love end while Julian proposed. That night I replayed the failed romance and drew a conclusion. I'm fine, Julian isn't, let the two lunatics rot. Screw you, Emery. I'll never be an assistant again. Emery, Riley, no matter how deep the love, the butterflies always separate, life and death, a lousy omen. Besides, I'd never even tasted real love. Once I saw that, I felt light. While my head was clear and my emotions steady, I drafted my final masterpiece for the company, the resignation email. It started chatty, turned eloquent, then cursing, and finally I graciously wished Julian well, the company's success, and the happy couple 100 years of bliss. Next morning, everyone but me witnessed their joy. Julian escorted Grace from office to office handing out wedding favors. When they reached the assistant pen, Grace hugged his arm, all consideration. If only Emery were here, she'd arrange everything and spare you. Why not lift her suspension? Julian set the candy on my desk and patted her hand. Fine, as you wish. Let it go. I won't dig further into whether she did it. Molly, dying to speak, finally caught Julian's eye. She hemmed and hawed, then blurted, Sister Liana already resigned. Cameron, didn't you know? The office laughter dried up, the screech of leather on tile erupted. Liana's joking, right? Throwing a tantrum. If this gets out, she'll be blacklisted. Molly, ask her if she's really quitting. Finally Julian barked, whatever, and slammed the door. The junior assistants exchanged glances of gloom. If the easiest target could snap, who was safe? Once the enemy retreated beyond firing range, they whispered, Sister Liana's tragic. She treated Cameron so well and still got axed over nothing. Yeah, she drank till her stomach bled for that RFP. Now she's branded a traitor. So unfair. Stomach bleed? Who, Liana? Julian had doubled back, catching every word. The girl jumped, yanked open my drawer and held up the pill bottles. Cameron, Emery. She's still on antacid tablets. He froze. He knew exactly how I'd earned that ulcer, every client dinner, every drink I downed for him. Once, when he asked if all that booze hurt, I'd handed him his bento and teased, thought you'd faint at the scent of flowers or wine. I can outdrink you, watch yourself. His face paled, he looked lost. Grace came hunting for him. In seconds he adjusted his expression back to the usual mask. See? Even knowing I'd worked myself to the bone, one call from Grace and he trotted off. Hard to say who was pitiful, maybe me, maybe Julian. How did I know all this? Not because I cared, but because Molly's need to share was impossible to stop. Several days had passed since I handed in my resignation, and Julian hadn't bothered to give me so much as a flicker of reaction. I no longer cared. Word was Grace still couldn't stand the slightest reminder of me. She had Molly strip my desk clean down to the screws. Word was Julian walked past that empty workstation every day and never slowed his stride. Until one afternoon he spotted the eyesore again, the little hand-thrown planter. Molly, ever the mind reader, said, Cameron, this is the pot Emery threw away. I thought it was cute, so I fished it out of the trash. It was the same dull gray thing, not adorable in the least. Its clay body already bore a hairline crack, courtesy of its owner's abandonment. Grace declared cracked pottery bad luck and reached to toss it, but Julian blocked her hand. Give it to me. Whether spurred by old habit of defending me or sheer guts, Molly didn't kowtow this time. Cameron, Liana made that herself. She's already quit. Let the pot go. The words struck like a mallet. Julian's face drained of color. Without a reply he snatched the planter and muttered, she made it. His fingers searched inside and out until, beneath the rim, he found what he was looking for, our initials, the secret mark only the two of us knew. What else did she leave? He asked, eyes bloodshot. Her sunflower Bible, every trick she learned, all in her own handwriting. Want to see? Julian took that notebook I had filled line by line and locked himself in his office. Page after page, what he liked, what he hated, how to sync his calendar, which proposal formats earned his signature. He discovered I understood him better than he understood himself, but I had already tossed all of that away. Molly didn't reach me again until 2 years later, by which time I had put down roots in beautiful spring. A city forever awash in blossoms and balmy air, it felt like the home I'd never had. I'd always felt guilty toward Molly. When I vanished I hadn't said goodbye to anyone, not even her. Yet I'd missed her. For years I'd drifted alone, and she had been the one friend who truly saw me. Recalling my sudden disappearance made us both sigh. She brought up a name I'd nearly forgotten, Julian. She said he almost lost his mind. He burned through every method, calling my dead number again and again, rushing to my sublet only to find it gutted, even tracking down my foster mother only to learn I'd cut her off too. At the end he hired a private investigator, filed a missing person report, whatever he could think of, but I never surfaced. That was the first time I saw Cameron so wrecked. He'd stare at your empty desk for ages, then bury himself in work so he could frantically keep searching. He wouldn't let Grace touch a single thing you'd touched. Liana, I think you actually won. Did I win? Hardly, because I'd surrendered my heart in the process. But none of that mattered anymore. I no longer loved him. Life in spring was pure ease. I opened a small and called Bloom. It had a courtyard garden so riotous with flowers that every guest posed in front of the living wall for photos. I also adored the city's nights, soft and mysterious as a healing lover, mending both my heart and my stomach. Within months the bartender at Hibiscus and I were buddies. Where there was a new cocktail, there I was. Mayuan, quick, look. Sonny waved his phone. I just saw a girl on Twitter who's your freaking doppelganger, also from Los Angeles. Spooky, huh? He pulled up the account he'd followed that morning. Sure enough, it was Grace. How quaint. Molly and I had just been talking about Julian, and here came Grace's feed. Her wedding prep diary is hilarious. Same face, yet she's about to marry Rich while you're playing house with succulents. Get a move on. So the wedding was finally happening. Good, that had always been the logical final scene. Looking alike doesn't mean living alike. I snapped back to tease him. Well, if you hadn't friend-zoned me, you'd have to take responsibility. Shoo, no crushed ice fantasies about me. We're sisters, period. Sonny hadn't finished when he slammed the bar, making heads turn. Holy, Mayuan, you're trending. That's the age of virality, you're suddenly the star of someone else's lens. My courtyard had blown up for the simplest reason, it was gorgeous. I'm not bragging, sheer prettiness was the only explanation. Alongside the hashtag dreamiest bloom, there was a half-profile shot of me, blurred yet atmospheric, courtesy of a famous travel photographer. Before I could bask, Molly rang. Liana, did you see? Most beautiful in. Julian's already on a plane. I can't save you, handle it yourself. Little rascal, what could I do? Let him come. This is my home, I'm not running. Back then I wasn't the one in the wrong, so why should I flee? Early next morning he arrived. I'd imagined our reunion 100 ways, yet reality was strikingly calm. No suitcase, just Julian at my gate, wind blown, Dylan unshaven, energy flat. Maybe this was the latest rugged Uncle Chic. His eyes were rimmed red, fixed on me. Long time, Liana. In the past he'd said my name coldly, tenderly, helplessly, angrily, every shade but this clenched teeth version. Why did you vanish without a word? Figuring he was still a guest in my territory, I answered, it's been a while, come in for tea. He stood stubbornly. Why didn't you contact me for 2 years? Who said you could leave? Oh, for crying out loud, 2 years and still he won't hear me. Suit yourself. Don't touch my plants, if you collapse halfway, I'm not playing nurse. I turned inside. You ask why I left? Stay and keep taking the fall for you people? Stay and stay blacklisted in the industry? You know I love plants, what did sacrificing that passion get me? Scorn, suspicion, shoulder shrugs. Did you ever care if I was happy? Never. I'd stopped being myself. If I hadn't gone, your world would have rubbed my love of life down to nothing. I had to leave. Julian reached out in panic, I sidestepped. I'm sorry, Liana. I know you were wronged. I didn't disbelieve you, I just hadn't found proof yet. I had to give the board an answer. I laughed coldly. So I was disposable? He had no answer, because there was none. After a long quiet he pulled a small box from his bag and opened it, 2 identical clay pots. I recognized one instantly, my original cracked planter. Liana, I kept it all this time. We shaped it together, failing to recognize it was my fault. His voice dropped to a whisper. It broke, so I went back to the same kiln and made a twin. Will you take it again? Eyes flooded with regret, he waited for my answer. I took the small hand-thrown planter from his hand. Okay. Joy flashed across his face, he stepped forward and caught my wrist. Liana, come back with me, will you? I tugged my sleeve free of his tight grip and shook my head firmly. Julian, we're over. I'm keeping this planter only because it was mine to begin with, it did nothing wrong, and I can still use it. Julian spoke in a rush. No, Liana, we're not finished. I wronged you before, but I love you, and I know you love me, there's nothing to apologize for. Loving you was my choice, I don't regret it. But I've let go and started a new life, that's also my choice, and I don't regret that either. I cut him off. Go home. Grace is still waiting for you, she's waited for years. Don't let her down. It's not like that, Liana. After you left, I talked things through with Grace. We'd only confused our feelings. The one I've always loved is you. We won't marry. Right now, it's just business ties between our families. Give me a chance. Now that I've found you, I'll settle everything quickly. I want a home, with you. I froze. 2 years ago, if Julian had shown even the faintest hint of a future that included me, our ending might have been different. But a missed chance is simply missed. I do long for family, for warmth, yet I won't chase warmth I can't hold. Julian, don't obsess. You just can't accept that I was the one who walked away. You simply refuse to believe I really love you. His eyes were steeped in pain. Blame me, I brought this on myself. A bitter laugh escaped him. You won't drive me off. Believe it or not, I'm going back to sort things out. I'll be here again on the weekend. Jordan, hold a room for me. I'll pay the rate. With that, Julian stalked out like a sulking kid. I didn't call him back. Julian's brief visit changed nothing in my life, and realizing that left me hugely relieved. It wasn't that I feared drama, my days were just too free, too comfortable. I had zero wish to stir things up. When Julian showed up again, Sonny happened to be in the courtyard, cradling his latest cocktail, Dead Drunk Dream, and singing its praises. Who's that? Julian's face darkened the instant he spotted Sonny. Oh ho, who are you, coming after my gorgeous Liana? Before I could speak, Sonny planted both hands on his hips and stepped between us. He spun around, slung an arm over my shoulder, leaned in, and whispered loud enough to raise the dead. Spill the tea, Liana, stat. Julian yanked Sonny aside. Send him away, I need to talk to you. Fine, fine, such a handsome guy blocking your view, I get it. I'm gone. Sonny winked at me as he sashayed off. I waved half-heartedly, the world finally quieted. Liana, I know you're still upset about what happened. I've investigated. It was Grace, wasn't it? Julian stared. You knew? I smiled faintly. Of course. The world isn't that coincidental. Julian, be honest with yourself, did you really not know? You just didn't want to admit it was her. Otherwise, why did it take you 2 years and countless chances to suddenly figure it out this time? He didn't argue, he launched into another frantic explanation. Liana, I've broken the engagement. From now on there'll be no one else between us, no more misunderstandings. I shook my head. Julian, don't guilt-trip me. You didn't end things with Grace because of me, you did it because she hurt your company and betrayed you, because she no longer deserves you, because the feelings are gone, not because I reappeared. Maybe my words were too blunt, his face cycled through livid shades. Liana, I won't deny I was wrong, but I'm willing to fix every flaw you point out. You say you won't leave here, then I'll come to you. I can open a branch in Spring Haven, shift operations here, if you'll just wait for me. He grabbed my hands, urgent. I won't, Julian. Can't you see? I'm done waiting. Following in your footsteps exhausted me, standing still waiting for you left me lonely, I want neither. I tilted my head, shielding my eyes from the sun, and squinted at him the way I used to as a teenager. Do you even know what my name means? Julian stayed silent. You don't, do you? Liana is just a tiny flower. I've never had grand ambitions, I only want to be a little blossom that faces the sun. I'm no towering tree, and I don't wish to cling to one either, so let's call it a day. As for opening a branch here, don't be naive. You know better than I do how unrealistic that is. Would you abandon your resources, your network, your company's very foundation? The more I talked, the gloomier he looked, he was nearly in tears. I can start over from zero, all I want is you. I still shook my head firmly. Sunrise brings hope, sunset brings memories, the heart has something to long for, and busy days don't feel lost. That's the life I want, and it's not one Julian can give. Truthfully, I no longer blamed him, youthful love has no absolute right or wrong. Besides, I'd gained far more than romance. Julian left. This time I walked him to the gate. At the last moment I pressed a tiny succulent into his hands, tucked inside the little planter we'd once made together. The small bloom I couldn't give him when we first met had finally been delivered. One day I'll meet someone willing to cherish this little flower, only that someone won't be Julian. My first love, this time I really said goodbye. Sonny was waiting outside the courtyard. Julian brushed past him without slowing. Sunny barreled in, grabbing my arm. Hoo, old flame, I sighed. Yep, the ex-fiancé of that pretty influencer you stalk online. Sunny's jaw dropped, he shot me a thumbs up. Savage, sis. Substitute romance done right, silent but deadly. The guy's eyes were razor sharp. I saw him leave all droopy-headed, totally wrecked. Heartbreaker Liana strikes again. I slapped his fluttering finger away. Oh, hush. That man has a 7-vent heart, bust 1 vent, 6 still left. Later, Julian never came looking again, but he texts me often. He says he's caring for the little succulent I gave him. He says he's running the company well. He says he visits Riverdale regularly to see the aunties and the kids. He says he'll wait forever. I never reply. Of course, I don't bother to exclude him from holiday blasts or Bloom promotions either. I figure when Liana finally meets her true match, I'll mail him an invitation. Alright, enough, Sunny's bugging me for gossip again. I've got stories. Got booze? Buy me around tonight. Thanks for listening. If you liked the tale, hit like and share with friends. We'd love to read your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more. See you next episode.
At the awards ceremony, my fiancé Chase used the moment he was presenting my prize to drag a starlet on stage and make a public reveal. I just shrugged. He's only a man. Out with the old, in with the new. Mom, pull our funding, no more cooperation. Briar, I'm taking back the IP rights, I'd rather let it rot in a drawer than sell to you. Chase panicked, came crawling to apologize. I waved him off. What makes you think you're even on my level? Before we go any further, subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. At the Golden Magnolia Awards, Chase was a presenter and I was the winner. I had just reached to take the statuette when he stepped back and spoke into the mic. Today is a special day, and there's one more thing I'd like to say. The whole room went silent. I stood beside him, watching him declare, Lindsay and I have been together for half a year. Today, I want to use this stage to speak to her. Lindsay, when it comes to professing love, the man should do it. The audience erupted in applause and cheering. Down below, Lindsay covered her mouth, eyes glistening, until the MC prompted her to come up. They hugged on stage. Chase placed the statuette in Lindsay's hands, and I frowned, then grabbed the microphone with a laugh. I've heard Mr. Sterling already has a fiancé at home, so you're openly asking Ms. Park to be the other woman? The applause cut off instantly. Lindsay froze. Avery cut in, our parents were only joking. What era are we living in? Surely nobody still believes in arranged marriages. I looked at Chase's disdainful face and burst out laughing. Well then, I wish the happy couple a long life together and a house full of children. I dropped the mic and walked off, didn't even take the trophy. I knew the paparazzi would dine out on this for days. The MC called after me, Serena, your statuette. I flashed him a grin. It's your statuette now. No way did Chase pull that stunt without his approval. Award shows have rundown sheets, and as MC he had zero crowd control. Let him keep the trophy, maybe it'll jog his memory. Back in my seat, I ignored the rest of the ceremony and whipped out my phone to brief the family group chat. If he called our engagement arranged, I supposed he no longer needed our help. The Sterling family are third-tier Riverdale socialites. Without his grandfather's friendship with mine, Chase would never have qualified as my fiancé. After milking every perk we'd given him, he decided he'd made it. Ridiculous. After the show, Holland and I left together, fuming. Chase did that on purpose. Doesn't he know it's live? A perfect night ruined. I patted her arm. Perfect. Start the press blitz. I want Chase on his knees begging for mercy. If I'm done, I'm done. No way will I swallow that insult. Holland stared. You're sure? Absolutely. On it. Eyes sparkling, she raced off. She'd launched my career. She knew every skeleton in Chase's closet. The Golden Magnolia broadcast went viral. Chase's grand declaration, Lindsay's matching theatrics. The minute they stepped out, reporters swarmed them. They posed arm in arm, lovebirds conquering the world, while I smirked and drove away. I'd barely pulled into the mansion driveway when Chase arrived with his parents. His face was swollen, shirt untucked, torso bound with a thorn switch, the ancient apology ritual. Serena, Chase lost his head today, Gloria began, seizing my hands. That Lindsay seduced him, he was blind for a moment. Forgive him, won't you? I almost laughed. Chase isn't 3, one crook of Lindsay's finger couldn't make him dumb enough to pull a public reveal on live TV. He ruined my award moment. I smiled without answering and looked at Mom. She spoke first. That's nonsense. Chase has dated Lindsay for 6 months, while engaged to Serena. In plain terms, Lindsay's the mistress, and your son enabled her. Gloria's face twitched. She turned to Chase with fake fury. Brat, get over here and apologize. Chase lifted his chin. I did nothing wrong. Marriage should be free, love comes first. Engagement? Feudal leftovers, I disown it. If you force me, I'll leave the family. Serena, you're modern educated, don't be so archaic. Gloria turned green. Victor clipped the back of Chase's head, not hard, but sharp. Shut your mouth if you can't talk sense. Mom smiled thinly. In that case, let's break the engagement and exchange tokens. Dad nodded. Young people have their own ideas, forced matches seldom work. Mom added, after today, the two families go separate ways, all cooperation ends. That was our bottom line, she wanted the mess closed before I was dragged into a triangle. If one man failed, we'd swap for another. Yet Gloria mistook speed for guilt. She produced our family's betrothal jade on the spot, she'd clearly come prepared to cancel. Mom checked it, handed back their piece. Chase pocketed it. Gloria still simpered, the match may be off, but business is business. I adore Serena like a daughter. I pulled my hand free. I already have a mother who loves me, and she taught me that people who truly care don't stab you in the back while smiling to your face. Gloria blinked. The child speaks like this? Mom's smile was ice. That's her polite version. Were it me, I'd have slapped someone. Gloria started to retort, Dad gestured to Butler. Furious, Gloria snapped, the Vance family certainly throws its weight around. Since ties are severed, we'll stay out of your exalted orbit, you're too lofty for us. Glad you noticed. Mom showed them the door without ceremony. She really thought the Vance family was that small time? That after 2 joint ventures she had her cash flow figured out and believed that was the full extent of us? Forget it, someone this short-sighted isn't worth another minute. Butler showed them out. Before leaving, Chase looked at me and said, Serena, your temper is impossible. If you were gentle like Lindsay, I never would've. Smack! I slapped him across the face. Chase froze, Gloria shrieked, you dare hit my son, don't scumbags deserve slaps? I'm letting you off easy. Keep pushing and I'll drop that video right now, let's see how long your little true love speech lasts. Gloria deflated instantly. Chase glared. Serena, just wait. This town isn't your private playground. I snorted, I couldn't care less. Every contact Chase has still runs through my family, how big a wave can he make? I thought the matter was closed. But the next morning Holland called, teeth clenched, the Shinsha series just got yanked. That bastard handed it to Lindsay. I understood at once, Chase's consolation prize for her. He'd been an investor on the show. I'd won my part through auditions and had a great rapport with the director. Now, last second switch. Holland hissed, I'll claw his face off for this. Let her have it. Her filmography's nothing but box office poison. Lindsay's dirty laundry is endless, left alone she self-destructs. Still, plenty of people love kicking someone who's down. Show business is a zero-sum feast, if you're not grabbing, you're being grabbed. At first I shrugged it off, mourning only the IP that scumbag had trashed. I didn't mind, yet someone insisted on dancing on my landmine. The show's public reveal swapped the lead, Lindsay's fans erupted. Our Lindsay rules, yesterday a public reveal, today a skyrocket. Lindsay's a goddess. What's Serena banking on, Daddy's Amex? Guess someone's fuming, lol. Reality check, my fans waited and are Serena's credentials? 5 years, awards on the shelf. Your faves resume, what, besides catfish highlights and fake tears? Which face version is she now, 3.0? Hope it stabilizes before she needs a credits footnote to be recognized. The fan war raged, Chase's backers dove in too. Sister-in-law's the best, Vance brat, crawl back to your mansion. Can't stand Serena's plastic mug, last night's filler must have cost a vat of bleach. 3 fandoms tore Twitter apart. Followers slid into my comment thread, Briar, you just gonna watch? Seeing them fight for me, I posted one line, downtime. Recharge, then back to battle. That calmed them, for the moment. Chase asked to meet. The engagement and a few business overlaps still lingered, I wanted those severed. He sauntered in, hurled a folder onto the table. Since 10,000 miles of peach blossoms is off limits, take this as compensation. I glanced, laughed, trash script, even Lindsay rejected it. Serena, sure it's a streaming drama, but the villainess is headline stealing. Perfect fit, basically autopilot for you. Holland snapped, Chase, your brain's on airplane mode. I held her back. I won't do peach blossoms, and Lindsay won't either. Chase, did you actually buy the novel's IP rights? Blank stare. What? Of course don't threaten her, Serena, or I'll. May the best shark win. Starting today we're rivals. You poach my roles for Lindsay, I poach your projects, let's see who bleeds first. Red-faced, he barked, Serena, don't push your luck, someone like you? I met his glare, smiling coldly. Exactly, someone like me. Watch, the IP rights are landing in my vault, and I'll bar that woman from the set entirely. Outside, Holland asked, plan? Word is the author's vanished, no one can reach her. They floated the news to force her out, the platform thinks it already has a done deal. Futile, I said. Holland blinked. Come again? You didn't know? The writer's my sister, she'll never sell to anyone else. Her jaw dropped. Briar is Briar? I rang my prolific, foul-tempered Briar. She answered half asleep, lethal, Serena, this better be apocalyptic or I'm ending you. Still volatile. I sighed. I broke the engagement. Good riddance, that cretin didn't deserve you. He gave 10,000 miles of peach blossoms to Lindsay, and the IP belongs to you. What? I was about to sign, hold my iced coffee, I'll kill him. Don't sign, sell to me instead. She laughed darkly. We're blood, if he's messing with you, consider the rights yours. Somehow she strong-armed the platform, the headline landed, IP rights secured by Serena. Holland and I founded our own shingle, bosses of our lot. Overnight the blockbuster IP ignited. They'd announced a new lead at dawn, by dusk the crown was back on my head. I won't star, but one thing's certain, Lindsay will never step on that set. Chase lost it. He rang, sputtering, what voodoo did you pull? How did the rights end up with you? Simple, I write bigger checks. You produce and invest yet pinch pennies, why would any author back your lemonade stand budget? Lindsay must be thrilled, hitching her cart to such a miserly rooster. I hung up, blocked him, and tweeted, poor boy, don't shatter. Just remember, I'm only a little loaded. Chase and Lindsay's fans instantly melted down. Vance bitch, shameless much? Throwing family money around to snatch resources. Down with the Vance money machine, boycott. Dox her, let's see what sketchy business the Vance family runs. I laughed, scrolling through the comment thread and cherry-picking replies, yup, guilty as charged. I'm blessed with cash, I do whatever the hell I want, own my studio, never punch a clock again. Cry about it. Convince the author to sell you the IP rights if you can. We manufacture fishing rods. Boycott away. Right, anglers don't give a damn about showbiz. If they blacklist us, they'll never again land a base with a rod half as sweet. My clapbacks sent my own fans into hysterics. That's our queen, Taylor. No wonder she said she needed a breather, girl was reloading for a kill shot. Break my foot, 2 hours and she's stolen the whole damn stage. Yesterday's ceremony had me spitting nails. Serena wins the award and that sterling mutt hijacks the statuette to propose to his side chick. Have some dignity? And the MC? Zero survival instincts, totally lost control of the room. Backed by me, my fans steamrolled the organizers. In all its years, the Golden Magnolia Committee had never dealt with a surprise engagement fiasco. The MC panicked and posted a groveling tweet. Sorry, it all happened so fast. I thought sharing happy news on that stage would be nice. I was stunned too, tiny slip on my part. He even at me, your trophy's still waiting. Cute. Fans and passers-by swarmed him. Tiny slip? It was Serena's first Golden Magnolia in 5 years, a career milestone, and you let that sterling mutt propose. Even as a rando, I can see the MC's hopeless. Years in the game and you still phone it in, fold under pressure and parrot whoever shouts loudest. Pathetic. The guy's a veteran host, already controversial, one scrape with me and he cracked, trading insults with strangers online. I hadn't seen that coming, then Lindsay jumped in. Thanks for the concern, everyone. I'm truly fine. Please focus on our work instead. I'll keep fighting the big money machine. Suddenly I'm the cartoon capitalist crushing her noble dreams. She's the plucky underdog, so inspiring she snapped me back to villain form. Calling me the root of all evil actually cracked me up. Lindsay really isn't afraid of stepping on landmines. She knows I'm capital incarnate and still throws shade, bet chases whispering courage into her ear. Then again, neither of them has a clue how deep fans' coffers go. Time for a lecture. I now own 10,000 Mile Blossom outright. Open nationwide casting, fire the old director, bring in Chen He, the A-list showrunner. Headlines explode, Chen's name turns the hot IP thermonuclear. The man's delivered hit after hit, his name alone guarantees quality. Plenty still call me evil moneybags, yet they flock to the open call. My crew may not be the best in every department, but the IP is dazzling enough to draw envy. To avenge me, Breyer signed over 3 of her blockbuster novels in one stroke, all former #1s that dominated charts year-round. Her comment section lost its mind. Did Serena save your life in a past one? Handing her your whole shelf. Breyer, if you're hostage, change your profile pic. Breyer swapped it to my onset still that instant, silenced the peanut gallery. My fans died laughing. Told you it's true love, which evil empire can make Breyer gift wrap 3 mega IPS? She's prolific, holds like 20. Dare her to donate the whole stash. Breyer didn't hesitate, tweeted she'll collaborate with me only, the rest of her IP rights are being transferred one by one, stay tuned. Green-eyed gremlins howled. Does no one police the Vance clan anymore? I'm digging for dirt, there's gotta be dirt. Dirt? Please. Dad's carbon fiber fishing rod was requisitioned by the government, that patent bulletproofs him for life. While Dad quietly dismantles the Sterling holdings, Chase keeps squeaking, hiring troll farms to dump sewage on my head. Rumors claim Breyer and I run some shady bedroom-to-contract pipeline. Others insist I'm blackmailing authors with power and cash. Reading that fiction, I laughed, such talent wasted on smear instead of novels. Dad, furious, is harvesting Sterling assets like fish in a barrel. I barely blinked, but when I cut Lindsay at the first casting round, Chase stormed the studio lot, security blocked him downstairs. He rang, I blocked. He called Holland, Breyer, out of industry courtesy, picked up, put Serena on. I took the phone. You've reached new levels of delusion. What brand of trash bag are you that you think I staged the circus to win you back? He still babbled, everything you've done is just to make me crawl back. Fine, dinner tonight, and you let Lindsay read for a role. Deal? My laugh came out a snort. Do you rehearse this narcissism in the mirror nightly? Go sniff someone else's dumpster. Without me your Rolodex is worthless, wake up. Oh, and sweetheart? Your girlfriend's halo isn't exactly stainless. I tossed him a heads up so his family doesn't sink broke. He took it as a curse and screamed, disgusting, Serena, then hung up. Disgusting, moi. I blocked him from Holland's phone too. From this moment on, Chase is dead to me. Yet the second I reached the casting call, Holland came barreling over. We've got trouble, some bastard just leaked your sex tape. I grabbed her phone. Chase and I were technically engaged, but we'd never crossed that line. No sweaty bed shots, not even a kiss or handhold. I spin like a top 24/7, when would I have time for X-rated games? I shook my head. Call the cops. I already did, but it's messier than we thought. With everyone watching you, my Twitter's getting nuked. The comment thread flooded in disgusting. Thought Miss Goody Two-Shoes was pure, but look at the kinks she's into. Body like that, what's her hourly rate? How many big shots have you serviced? Bet you earned those IP rights on your knees. Obscenities kept piling up. Before I could scroll further, a hand slid in and plucked the phone away. Don't read that trash. They're brainless trolls. We've filed, let legal handle it. Can we get back to the audition? Across from me stood Mason, the actor who'd crashed the open call. I blinked, then smiled. Sorry. Let's roll. Holland gaped at us. You two are insane, auditioning at a time like this? What else could I do? The arrow was knocked, nothing and nobody would stop me from running my own studio. Professionals handle professional work. After the police report, I had our in-house counsel lock everything down, every user who reposted the clip, every troll who spammed hate, all ID'd and served. I'm flush with cash, I'm not after apologies, only pain. I tweeted back, deepfake head swap. Anyone with eyes can tell. Also, police notified. This time I bury every troll who smears me. Justice is a net with no holes. Think a screen name hides you? Tech is sharper than you know. Whether it was the hard stance or pure luck, apologies soon lined up beneath my post. I ignored them. Deleting won't save you, I can still find you. Slinging mud from behind a keyboard looks pathetic, but watching you queue to say sorry looks even worse. If you'd stood your ground, I might have respected you. Instead, you whimper for forgiveness, disgusting. My bluntness won cheers from some corners. Mason commented, exactly. Cyber mobs are criminals, distributors belong in jail. Once he spoke up, industry colleagues piled in. That finally flushed Chase out. He probably realized that, without my family, the Sterlings are just Riverdale C-list. After Dad blocked 6 Sterling projects in a row, they caved and came knocking. Mom left them stewing in the foyer until Gloria cracked. In-laws. Mom cut her off the instant she opened her mouth. I already told you we'll never be family. Don't mislabel us, my daughter still has to marry someday. Shameless as ever, Gloria chirped, oh, come on, the kids grew up together. Love is love, right? Let's merge the families, happy to have my son move in with you. She beckoned Chase, he didn't budge. Mom just smiled. Told you before, no contact is best. Say what you came for and stop wasting my perfume. Gloria's cheeks twitched. I'm here to apologize. Please, your family's crushing us. Fine. Have Chase publicly admit I'm his ex-fiancée and Lindsay is the homewrecker. Do that and I might ease off. Chase lost it. Never. Lindsay and I are true love. Then I can't help you. Mom shrugged and signaled Butler to see them out. Gloria blocked the door and slapped her son. Some vixens scrambled your brain. Haven't we suffered enough? Tweet the truth or I'll do it for you. Do that and you'll lose me forever. The Van Cess are bullying us, and I will never surrender. Mom smiled. Show them out. She hates dealing with them, yet Gloria camped outside our gate daily. I came home late one night and walked straight into her. Serena, Sam, there's nothing left between our families. Don't make this harder. I cut her off before she could start. Her face darkened. I know Chase wronged you, but please stop going after him. I don't follow. We're both in Hollywood, we compete on merit. Or are you admitting the smear campaign was Chase's idea? She went speechless. I sneered, he ruins my name, trashes my reputation, and I'm supposed to forgive? If nudes of you hit the internet, would you shrug it off? Don't be a hypocrite. If he's behind this, I'll bury him. Gloria exploded. Spoiled brat. Push too far and you'll end up unmarriageable. Sorry to disappoint. Even single, I'm rich. With money, men are endless, out with the old, in with the new. She stormed off, foiled by facts. I told Butler to lock the gate and hired 2 rows of security with orders to boot any Sterling on sight. The detectives worked fast. Soon they traced the leak to Lindsay. Cops walked onto her live stream and cuffed her. Her fans lost their minds. Serena, was this you? You sicked the police on our baby, what's your vendetta? Quit using big money backing as a weapon. Apologize. What did you do to Lindsay? I'm amazed by these stands. I'm just an actress trying to launch a studio, hardly powerful enough to dispatch detectives. PD issued a statement confirming Lindsay created and spread the fake. The news detonated across Riverdale. I had legal delivered the message loud and clear, I would never let this go, and I would never settle. Lindsay finally panicked, only then did she realize how unshakable my resolve was. Chase came begging. Please, let her off the hook. I smiled at him. Begging requires humility. Do what my mother demanded. But this will destroy Lindsay, and when she pulled her stunt, didn't she think it would destroy me? I see the double standard runs in your blood. Take your time deciding if Lindsay can afford the wait. Fear flashed across his face, he knew I meant every word. He clenched his fists, jaw tight. Fine. I'll do it, I nodded. Now that's true love. 2 days later Chase called a press conference. He quit the industry and outed himself as a cheater. Serena and I were engaged. When Lindsay and I got together I had not broken the engagement. I apologized to Serena for the pain I caused, and to Lindsay as well. Effective immediately, I am leaving entertainment for good. He torched his own career, the internet detonated. Holy crap, I thought the Golden Magnolia fiasco was an accident, but he timed it to humiliate his fiancée on live TV, then called it love. Anyone seen Chase today? Hope the detectives dragged him off. Unfollowed. Love is officially dead to me. The Sterlings hemorrhaged capital. To stop the bleeding they sold their Riverdale mansion at fire sale price. Sponsors fled after his confession, every endorsement cratered and bled penalties. I signed the settlement, but Lindsay's pristine image still imploded. The public labeled her a calculating mistress who had slandered me, labels dried up overnight and invoices for damages poured in. Old dirt surfaced, she'd been the other woman so often that a betrayed wife once slugged her in the street, which explained the multiple nose jobs. Chase hadn't bargained on his soulmate arriving preloaded with scandal. They turned on each other, brawling in daylight while paparazzi clicked away. I laughed when the photos hit Twitter. True love 1 minute, MMA in Beverly Hills the next. Apparently devotion has a very short shelf life. On the first day shoot of my Shinsha series 10,000 Peach Blossoms, Chase showed up clutching a monstrous rose bouquet. Serena, I was blind. It feels like I woke from a nightmare and realized I can't live without you. Dead silence swallowed the production set. The man's shamelessness could armor a tank. I thanked my light breakfast, at least nothing threatened to reappear. He rambled on, give me one more chance. We can start fresh, our engagement never officially ended. I cut him off. Chase, look around. You're on my set, interrupting my shoot. Aren't you afraid Lindsay will storm in? Lindsay's toxic, my family doesn't want trash like that. I shook my head. Coincidence, mine doesn't want trash like you. You chased novelty, so you picked Lindsay. You knew every scrap of her dirty laundry, but you handed her my crown anyway. Now that she's toxic, you dump her first. You fail as a human and as a boyfriend. Stay away from me, you're garbage. Color drained from his face, yet he clung to his soap opera script. So there's really no hope? I laughed. What edge do you have? Hollywood is stuffed with prettier men. Why would I want you back? He froze. In your eyes, am I just interchangeable? Any guy could fill the fiancé slot? Not anyone, only a man with integrity, looks, and serious money gets to stand beside me. You score 0 on all 3. Without our parents' history, the Sterlings wouldn't even be in the same zip code. My verdict shattered him. He nodded like a broken toy and trudged away. I shrugged. Facts are facts. Don't do anything dramatic, pal. He never contacted me again, and I enjoyed the peace. Lindsay's romance with Chase combusted. Rumors said she faked a pregnancy to force a wedding. Gloria wasn't having it. She shipped Chase off to a wealthy patroness and personally booted Lindsay down the stairs. Detectives, lawyers, media frenzy, none of it touched me anymore. 10,000 Peach Blossoms premiered. I produced and played the scene-stealing second female lead. Holland teased, giving up the heroine crown? Whenever I want top billing, I get it. This supporting role is twisted and layered, exactly the kind of challenge I crave. She ruffled my hair, wordless. Week 1, Breyer visited set, issued instructions, and threatened, botch my novel and I yank every IP right back. Standard big sister scare tactic. I hugged her and grinned. Relax, I'm still a 5-time award winner. Cast and crew blinked at our rapport until Holland drawled, "They're sisters, deal with it." That's when everyone realized how the studio landed the blockbuster rights. Even Mason gaped, then deadpanned, "Looks like I backed the right thoroughbred." Put me in every project, lead, extra, horse groom, doesn't matter. Great performances by excellent retirement plans. The set exploded in laughter. Who knew the brooding method actor had dry humor? I waved a grandiose hand. Done. Launch night, the entire marketing army of fans flooded Twitter, pushing the show to trend #1 worldwide. Episode 1 numbers crushed every competitor. My supporting character logged limited screen time but trended under acting masterclass. Exactly 1 year earlier, I had accepted Best Supporting Actress at the Golden Magnolias. A Triple Crown legend handed me the statuette and told me to keep raising the bar. Standing on that same stage tonight, I felt the old mountains dissolve behind me. My skiff had already sailed through 10,000 peaks. Thank you for listening. Rate our story 1 to 10, smash that like, share with friends, and scroll the comment thread below. Subscribe for more tales. See you next episode.
I shouted toward the door. Coming, coming. The moment I opened it, I chirped, "Little, you're here." Wait, my smile froze. Standing there was a guy in a white t-shirt and olive green cropped pants, canvas sneakers on his feet, clean cut, unfairly handsome. Crap. Ex-boyfriend. Before we go on, please subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. Olivia, my little's transferring to Harbor City for work and the rental market's brutal. You've got that 2-bedroom to yourself, right? Let him crash with you. Keep an eye on him for me. I was about to refuse when my phone chimed. Alipay transfer, $100,000. My eyes bulged. Only Sophie would be this generous. Can't blame me for being a mercenary. Harbor City is impossible, which is why I'm stuck paying $5,000 a month solo. That's a quarter of my salary. Rent's on me. Take care of my baby brother. Reading Sophie's text, my eyes lit up. Relax, your little is my little. Rowan. I had the day off, so I decided to air out the spare room. Sophie said her brother's from my university, 1 year below me. Since we're the same generation, I figured I'd make a good impression. I spent the entire day scrubbing until the spare room, and the whole apartment, sparkled, then stretched until my shoulders cracked. Exhausting. Checking the time, I realized it was late. I was about to call Sophie to ask if they'd landed when the buzzer rang. Had to be Sophie's little. Coming, coming. I sang, yanking the door open. Little you're. Wait. The smile melted off my face. Same white tee, same olive cropped pants, same killer cheekbones. Crap. Ex-boyfriend. How do you know my address? I forced a laugh. If you're done, I'll shut the door. I started to swing it closed. He blocked it with one hand, wheeled in his suitcase, and lazily flashed his phone. My big told me to crash here. Me. No escape.
I watched him roll the bag inside. I'm doomed. Sophie once ranted that some girl crushed her brother's heart, and I'd helped her curse that heartbreaker out. Turns out the villain was me. After all, I'm the one who asked him out then dumped him. Sophomore year, dorm of 4, only me still single. Classes were light, so I figured why not taste romance. We met in club. He'd just transferred into my group, and we clicked. He was exactly my type, pretty face, sunshine grin, so I made the first move. The guy said yes on the spot. 1 month later I regretted it. Too clingy. Looks I loved, personality, toddler level. 2 years ago tonight, under the dorm lights, we had our first kiss. My heart pounded. I copied drama leads and parted my lips slightly. Next second he bit my tongue. Ow! Mason, you. He looked mortified. Sorry. Clarity hit. I just wanted the college romance sampler pack. Wrong subject, younger, equally inexperienced. A sin. I ended it on the spot. He protested. I shot him down with childish and zero kissing skills. The hurt on his face still stings. He WhatsApped later begging for a do-over. I deleted him, quit the club, vanished. Haven't dated since. The whole episode feels sleazy. Now he's here, 2 years older and even more unfairly handsome. Used to smile at everything. Now his eyes are arctic. I point toward the spare room. Your room's that way. Got it. He heads down the hall without a backward glance. Kill me. I thought the universe had buried that disaster. Of all the condos in Harbor City, I lean against the doorframe, watching him unpack with mechanical precision. Finally I venture. Have you had dinner? His hand stills. Not yet. Remembering Sophie's orders, I offer. I could whip something up. No need. I'll order takeout. I give him the 2-second tour bath balcony, then drop the spare key on his dresser and retreat. Back in my room, I text Sophie. Spill every detail on the evil ex. Why the sudden curiosity? Don't tell me you like my brother now. I type way too fast. Just wondering how anyone could dump a face like that. It's a long, tragic epic. By the time she finishes, my guilt is a 20-piece marching band. Because of me, Mason morphed from sunshine to storm cloud, Ellis. I spent the night wide-eyed with shame. Noon the next day, I shuffle into the kitchen sporting panda eyes and brew coffee. First sip, and he walks out carrying plates. Up. Food's ready. He freezes, ears scarlet, gaze jerking away. Weirded out, I ask, what? It's hot, so maybe wear more than that. I am still a guy. His tone sounds angry. I glance down, oh Lord. I'm in the silk spaghetti strap mini Sophie gave me, hips, legs, and 36D on full display. Sorry, I forgot you moved in. I sprint to my room and throw on a hoodie. At the table I blink at the spread. You can cook. What, 1 month and you think you knew me? Ouch, resentment served hot. I shut up, I deserve worse. He nods at my chair. Let's eat. Everything on the table is my favorite. Coincidence, probably. 1 bite of sweet and sour pork and I'm starstruck again. Gorgeous and gifted at the stove? I inhale 3 bowlfuls of rice. How long were you starving? He asks, stunned. I dump plates in the sink. I'll wash, fair's fair. Glass shatters. A soapy tumbler slips and explodes. Shards nick my thigh. Ah! He charges in, scoops me up, plants me on the couch, and in 60 seconds has the first aid kit out. Luckily just a scratch. The bleeding stops fast. Quinn. Mason didn't answer me. He just kept cleaning the cut. After he pressed the Band-Aid in place, he stood up, collected the glittering shards from the kitchen floor, and washed the leftover bowls. I pushed myself off the couch to go to him, but the look he shot me made me stop mid-step, words stuck in my throat. Quinn, Casey, I said, voice soft with guilt. He only glanced over, still silent, snapped the first aid kit shut, and carried it back toward his room. I followed as far as the doorway. He turned. If you're hurt, sit still. Stop making things worse. The coldness stabbed. No point pretending it didn't. He was my first love, rushed beginning, even more rushed ending, but the feelings had been real. Years had passed, yet my heart still slammed against my ribs the moment I saw him. Mason back then. I needed to say I was sorry, that the girl I'd been had run when she should have stayed. I barely got the first syllable out before he cut me off, stepping closer until I could smell soap and salt air on his skin. Don't tell me you think I'm still hung up on it? A bitter laugh slipped out of me. Guess I overthought it. 2 years after all. We'd both grown up. Even if the spark had once been there. With a face like his. There had to be a waiting list of girls who'd asked him out. I opened my mouth again, but his phone rang. We were close enough that the girl's gentle hello floated straight into my ear. Emery, you okay over there? Mason, I'm good. I'm so happy we'll be working in the same city now. He glanced at me. Yeah. The tenderness in his eyes while he talked felt like a needle sliding under a nail. He'd clearly moved on. Probably the woman on the line was halfway to girlfriend status. I should have felt relieved, but the heaviness in my chest refused to lift. I stared at the half-finished coffee and left it cooling on the table. I retreated to my room and lay down like a punished kid. No sleep the night before, plus an overstuffed stomach turned exhaustion into anesthesia. Within minutes I was out. When I opened my eyes again, the clock said 6 p.m. I studied my reflection. The dark circles had faded a little. After a shower, I slipped into the most modest pajamas I owned and padded to the living room. Mason sat on the couch, laptop balanced on one knee, typing around blueprints. Have you eaten? I asked. He looked up. No. Impulse hijacked my mouth. You cooked lunch. Dinner's on me. Let me take you out. Deal, he answered, quick and calm. I changed, added mascara mostly out of habit, and drove us to the nearest mall. What are you in the mood for? Whatever. We picked the first restaurant without a line, an upscale bistro glowing red and gold. The server greeted us with a candle-laden smile. Feel free to try our Valentine set menu, created for the season. And no, that's okay, I blurted. Valentine, right? August. Bistros always milk that festival for prefixes and pink tablecloths. Around us, almost every seat held the standard couple configuration. Elbows touching, sharing selfies and calamari. I pushed the leather-bound menu toward him. Pick anything, my treat, seriously. He tapped the Valentine menu. This looks decent. Heat crawled up my neck. Was he joking? Who orders a lovebird platter with an X? Mason shrugged. It's just food. Don't go reading into it. 37 degrees Celsius mouth, sub-zero words, classic Mason. If he didn't care, neither would I. Fine, Valentine special it is. Dishes arrived in choreographed succession. Each plate came with a speech about eternal harmony and heart-flame passion. Straight from the server's cheat sheet. And every time, I died a small death. We are not a couple. How to explain that without sounding ridiculous? Jordan saw the untouched wine. Not drinking. I'm driving. Call a designated driver app if you feel like it later, he said. Sure, maybe. I sipped anyway, liquid courage. The glass was innocent, the bottle was criminal. By dessert the walls were swaying. I propped my chin on my hand while the server cooed. May sweetness follow you always, lovebirds. Mason inclined his head. Quinn. I blinked. Must be the alcohol. When the last spoonful of panna cotta was gone, he rose. Let's head back. I'll pay. I stood too fast and the floor pitched. Already settled, he said. Oh, okay. Then it hit me. Wait, this was supposed to be my treat. You're tipsy. Typing the wrong tip would only casey yourself. I'm not drunk, I muttered. He stayed one pace ahead all the way to the car, never touching me once. Keys. I dropped them into his palm like contraband. Inside the cabin, he leaned across to click my seat belt. Cedar and sea air flooded my senses, and my pulse went haywire. He parked in the garage and accepted the key from the designated driver app driver, then opened my door. We're here, out you get. I rubbed my temples, stepped out, knees folding like damp cardboard. I swear it wasn't on purpose when I pitched straight into his chest. His arm circled my waist. Olivia, you. I'm sorry, really. He slammed the door with his free hand and scooped me up. I can walk. Faster this way. An elderly couple boarded the elevator with us, beaming like matchmaking grandparents. I buried my flaming face against Mason's shoulder. Inside, he set me on the bed. Sleep it off. Halfway to the door, I caught his wrist. Momentum snapped him forward and we crashed together. Taylor. Mouth on mouth, heartbeat on heartbeat. Through the alcohol haze, I stared. Mason. His voice was gravel. Olivia, you're baiting me. I didn't mean. He cut me off with a kiss that had clearly been upgraded. His tongue traced my lips like a lazy signature, pulling back each time I chased him, until a frustrated sound escaped me, and he finally gave me the full taste I was begging for. I woke to an empty apartment, probably at the firm already. I got ready and took myself to the agency. At my cubicle, playback of that kiss flickered behind my eyelids. My cheeks kept lighting up. Whoever had tutored him after me had done thorough work. But why kiss me at all? I shook the thought off like rainwater. Coworker Stella zeroed in immediately. Olivia, you look like someone's keeping your sunshine hostage. That obvious? She nodded. Tell me, she urged. I ran into my ex-boyfriend. I exhaled. He's now my roommate. Stella squealed. Destiny. Maybe you two get a sequel. When I stayed mute, she pushed. A coincidence that big? Probably engineered. I shook my head. Unlikely, and it's been 2 years. He could have a girlfriend. Did you ask? Not exactly. Just a hunch. She rolled her eyes. Dummy. What woman tolerates her guy living with another female? Her point hit the bullseye. Sophie fronted me $100,000. With that budget, he could rent any place in town. Stella grinned. If he really came for you, what then? Still have feelings? I don't know. Her grin widened. That's a yes. I opened my mouth, nothing came. If you're this Ellis, you're already halfway in love. I wondered if she was right. Last night, when he kissed me, I hadn't pulled away. I woke up and didn't see him. My chest felt strangely hollow. Is this what liking someone feels like? Stella said, half the agencies asked you out and I've never seen you mope like this. Stella said, if you really like him, just spell it out early and everything will be peachy. It's never that simple. Mason is only sharing the lease with me out of necessity. Once he finds another place, he'll probably move right out. So I muddled through work like a zombie. I got a message from Sophie. Olivia, I'm here, gonna take you out for some fun tonight. Me. You're in Harbor City? In the KTV private room, just the two of us knocking back drinks. Me, why the sudden visit? Sophie grinned. Because your love life keeps me up at night. Me. I'm still young, I'll meet someone. Chill. Before Sophie could answer, the door swung open and Mason walked in. Wait, what? I stared at Sophie, totally blindsided that she'd invited Mason. I whispered, why did you drag him here? I finally fly in. Of course I have to see him and talk some sense into him. Help him forget that witch. You back me up. I could only force an awkward smile. Better keep a low profile so I don't annoy him. Sophie beamed. By the way, Olivia, I've got a huge surprise for you. I squinted. For real. You're gonna love it. She clapped and a line of guys filed in. 8 men minimum, in black shirts and suit pants, standing at attention. I was dumbfounded. What is this? Sophie announced. You're obsessed with cut abs, right? Handpicked. She stood, clapped again, and music blasted. The 8 started dancing, hips and shoulders rolling. Within a minute they yanked off their shirts, flashing abs and pecs. Oh my God! I slapped my hands over my eyes, mortifying. Watching alone would have been fine, but Sophie just had to bring Mason. I sneaked a glance. His expression was priceless, face storm-dark, brows knitted tight enough to crush flies. After about 60 seconds the music died. Finally, I exhaled in relief. Sophie piped up. Olivia, pick your favorite. I shook my head and told them to step out. None of them do it for you? Want a fresh batch? Sophie asked. I jumped in. No, we're good. Before Sophie could speak, Mason was on his phone. Big, it's little. I'm at Glam KTV in Harbor City. Your daughter just ordered male dancers. Sophie's eyes bulged, she glared a warning. Mason, you little. The voice on the other end crackled, frantic. The call cut. Sensing disaster, I bolted with an excuse. Big misunderstanding, bathroom break. When I stepped out of the restroom, someone yanked me into an empty private room. Startled, I struggled. Let go. It's me. I froze, Mason. Why drag me in here? Mason, what? He cut me off. Olivia, you into muscles? Huh. No. He seized my wrist and pressed my palm to his stomach. I gasped. Mason, what are you doing? You want to touch? Touch mine. He pinned me to the wall. The cedar scent of him calmed my panic. And damn, the man was built perfect 8-pack. My fingers, traitors that they are, gave a tiny squeeze. He groaned. Olivia, do you even know what you're doing? Wait, seriously? Dude, you told me to touch. Getting shy now. Mason laughed in disbelief. Not free. I charge interest. Mason, you. My protest died as he sealed my mouth with his. His hand cradled the back of my neck. His tongue tasted of whiskey and raw claim. I tilted up, helpless, fingers twisting his shirt like a mast in a storm. Feeling me respond, he deepened the kiss until we were both breathless. Finally, he let go. Olivia, Big says you've stayed single Taylor. Looking at him, I blurted. But you haven't. Who told you I'm dating? The girl who answered your phone last time. He answered instantly. My cousin, ask Big if you don't believe me. Oh! I dropped my gaze. Seeing the smirk playing on his lips, I muttered. You think I was jealous? Was not. Way too defensive. I spun to leave, he followed. Once he said cousin. My mood lifted like fog burned off by sun. Back in Sophie's private room, I sat nearby while she chatted between sips. Soon her husband collected her, leaving Mason and me alone. He rose. Let's go home. Okay, I answered. At the exit, a server blocked us. Sorry, sir, ma'am. The special performance needs to be settled. Mason glanced at me and paid. Sophie, you demon, killing me. Back at the apartment, I showered and sipped tea in the living room. Minutes later, Mason emerged from the bathroom wearing only a towel. Short hair dripped, beads slid down sharp cheekbones, strong neck, carved abs, then vanished under the terry cloth. The towel hung low, exposing most of that sculpted chest. Infuriatingly hot. Was this deliberate? He caught me staring. Look all you want, no need to sneak. You did that on purpose, parading around half-naked. Just grabbing clothes from my room, he said, heading in. He returned in sleep shorts, hair dry, still no shirt, and sat across from me. Why no shirt? Hot tonight, he replied. I escaped to my room. The sight was too tempting, and I didn't trust my hands. From then on he lounged around topless. I adjusted, sneaking peeks like seasoning on rice. One day at the office, Stella whispered, Hey, Olivia, director's buying dinner tonight. Huh? Why? Department team building, they say. Random. What's the occasion? Come on, everyone knows director's got his eye on you. This dinner's the setup. I rolled my eyes. Stop it. Don't play dumb. He's decent looking, salary's fat. I shrugged. Pass. Already into someone. Her grin turned wicked. Your ex-boyfriend. My silence said everything, she squealed. Didn't know you were the loyal type. If you like him, why break up? Yeah, I admit it, I like him. But what I did back then was unforgivable. I don't deserve to say the word like to him now. If I tried, Mason would think I was toying with him. Moments later, the team chat pinged. Tonight's department dinner, mandatory attendance, no exceptions. Stella wiggled her brows. Told ya. I groaned. Please don't let there be a public confession. Our agency is pretty liberal, no explicit ban on office romance. I looked up and met Derek's gaze, thick enough to spoon. It gave me goosebumps all over. He's maybe 5 or 6 years older than me, reasonably good-looking, soft and gentle. Exactly the type of son-in-law moms dream of. After work, our whole team hailed a rideshare to the restaurant we'd booked. Inside the private room, Derek purposely took the seat next to me, refilling my drink every few minutes, ladling soup, piling food on my plate, attentive to a fault. I was embarrassed by the pampering, and the coworkers' eyes kept flicking our way. Avery, I've got it. I protested again when he reached for the pitcher. He only smiled. The meal flew by. Suddenly it was 9 p.m. My phone buzzed with a text. Still not home? Where are you? Had to be Mason. How did he even get my number? I shot back. Who's this? Mason. Me, Mason. Mason. At least you're not totally clueless. Me, what's up? Mason. Out this late. Me, on a date. Mason, oh really? With who? I snapped a quick pic of Derek's hand beside me and sent it. Morgan went quiet then. Where? Address. Me, why? Mason. Picking you up. Me. I can get home myself. Mason. Not safe this late. Me, so worried. Still into me? Mason. Promised big I'd look after you. Stubborn as a dead duck, I muttered. Truth. Team dinner, heading home soon. Mason, address. I gave up and dropped him the location. Derek noticed me texting nonstop. Something wrong? I grinned. Nope. He leaned closer. Can you step outside with me a minute? I blinked. Huh? Why? Need to tell you something. I'll wait outside. He excused himself to the restroom and left. Seconds later, I'm in the parking lot. I decided to hear him out. If this was a confession, I'd clear the air. I found him standing with his back to me, holding a bouquet. Riley, what's up? He turned. Olivia, I've been watching you for ages. You're dedicated, gorgeous, kind, every trait I want. Give me a chance to ask you out. Stella called it, I thought. Just then a car rolled in, window sliding down. Olivia. My heart skipped. How had Mason gotten here so fast? WH, what are you doing here? Taking you home. He climbed out, glanced at Derek. What's going on? Derek asked. And you are? Before I could speak, Jordan cut in. Her boyfriend. Wait, since when? Derek looked at me, stunned. You have a boyfriend? Never heard about him. Mason's arm circled my waist, staking claim. 2 years together. We lived together. Derek waited for my confirmation. If I denied it, he'd think Hope was alive. Might as well shut this down. I nodded. Riley, sorry. I'm taken. He for the compliment, but I can't return it. Derek gave a sad smile. My fault for not asking sooner. It's late, I said. I should head home. Drive safe. Under Derek's gaze, Mason ushered me into the passenger seat, pulled out, and sped off. We rolled to a stop in our complex's garage. I broke the silence. Why did you say that? Hands on the wheel, Mason asked, "Regrets?" When I stayed quiet, Jordan said, "Let's go upstairs." Back inside, I perched on the sofa. "We broke up 2 years ago." "Don't say that again." Mason sat beside me. "Break up? News to me. Seriously, amnesia now." "I told you 2 years ago." Jordan countered. "Did I agree?" In relationships, once one person ends it, it's over, consent or not. Mason gave a self-mocking laugh, walked off to his room, and ever since he's been dodging me like I'm toxic. My own mess, my own pain. A week passed. Mason stayed frozen polite. One night I crept out for water, stomach cramping. I flicked on the living room light and headed for the sink, but the pain doubled me over. Water didn't help. I remembered the meds in the side cabinet, fumbled it open, hands shaking, pills scattering across the tile. Tears blurred everything. A figure loomed, Mason frantic. "You okay?" I choked back a sob. "I'm fine." He scooped me up. "We're going to the hospital." I pushed weakly. "No need." Still cradling me, he snapped. "Stop being stubborn." "It's nothing new. Doctor said take the pills on time." He didn't slow. "We'll let them check first." At St. Anne's the tests were quick. Reading the chart, the doctor frowned. "Patient needs regular meals. Wasn't this discussed? Take care of yourself." He turned to Mason. "And you, boyfriend, supervise her." Mason nodded. "Will do." Back home he cooked congee and set it in front of me. "Eat, then meds." "Quinn," I whispered. He watched me spoon it up. "How long has this been going on?" "About a year. Work messed up my schedule." He said nothing more. When I finished, he handed me pills and warm water. After I swallowed, the tight line of his shoulders finally eased. I studied him. "You were that worried?" He met my eyes. "Yeah. Scared." I'd braced for the big excuse. His honesty floored me. "Still like me?" "Like you." He leaned closer. "I love you." I hooked my arms around his neck and kissed him. Hard. This time I made the move. His eyes flared, stunned, as I parted his lips and dove in, hot and desperate. Mason quickly took over. My whole body melted, head spinning until I had to brake for air. Gasping, I said, "Mason, I love you too." He stared like he'd misheard. "Say it again." "I love you. I screwed up 2 years ago. I thought we were just fooling around, but you were serious and I panicked. I was scared I couldn't match you. But I've always loved you, then and now." He kissed me again, deeper, fiercer, as if trying to fuse us together. After a long while, he finally let go. "Olivia, let's get back together." I nodded. "Okay. How long are we staying together this time?" Jordan asked. I hugged him. "Forever." Mason looked at me, eyes soft. "Then I'm all in." And just like that, we were a couple again. With him looking after me, my stomach was happier than it had been in years. A week slipped by. Stella stood beside my desk, studying me. "Olivia, you're practically glowing." "Good news." I thought about it. 3 generous home-cooked meals a day. Even I'd put on a pound or 2. Stella leaned closer. "You've brown-bagged lunch every single day. No takeout in sight. Confess, whose heart-shaped Tupperware is that?" I grinned. "The guy at home." Stella's eyes lit up. "Back together?" I nodded. "No wonder you're radiant. Love is better than any highlighter," she teased. That afternoon my phone buzzed right after clockout. "Mason, baby off work?" "Me, hum. Mason, I'm downstairs." "Me, you left the studio early?" "Mason, taking you to dinner." "Me, lead the way." After the meal, he drove us to the waterfront. We'd barely stepped onto the boardwalk when he asked me to grab a jacket from the trunk. I popped it open, flowers, gifts, ribbons everywhere. "All this for me?" He nodded. "Happy Valentine's. I'm making up for every holiday we missed, starting 2 years ago. Consider this 2 years of love in installments." Tears welled. I couldn't pretend otherwise. He dabbed them away. "Hey, why the waterworks?" I buried my face in his chest. "I regret wasting 2 whole years without you." He laughed gently. "We still have the rest of our lives." "Yes," I whispered. We kissed by the surf until the moon blurred. Breathless and dizzy, I murmured, "Mason, I want you." He blinked. "Say that again." "I've been craving you forever." He broke into the happiest smile. "You got me." The second we were through the door, he swept me off my feet, pivoted, and pressed me onto the bed. His fingertips grazed my skin like sparks. Within minutes, we were both panting. Men and women really are built differently. Long after I collapsed, exhausted, he was still tireless. I nestled in his arms, our fingers still laced from the height of it. "I love you, Olivia," he whispered. I drifted off against his chest. Morning light spilled through the curtains, Rowan. I woke to find him watching me. "Why are you staring?" I mumbled, cheeks hot. Because my Olivia is gorgeous, he answered. Before I could retort, the door flew open. Olivia. We froze. Mason yanked the duvet over us. Big. Ever heard of knocking? I shrank beneath the covers, mortified. Once decent, we faced Sophie in the living room. She folded her arms. Explain. Now. I twisted my fingers. Sophie, it's a long story. You're my little sister, yet you're dating my baby brother? Let me. She burst out laughing. Brilliant. Took you long enough. You're not mad. She waved it off. I've been waiting for someone to tame him. Congrats. I only found out he was your brother the day he moved in, I said. She smirked. That kid's been crazy about you for ages. I blinked. Come again. Mason cut in. Big, mission accomplished. You can leave now. Sophie rolled her eyes. Fine, fine, ungrateful siblings. Once the door shut, I rounded on him. Spill. Jordan cleared his throat. I've known you longer than you think. My jaw dropped. You mean when I asked you out at university, you already knew I was Sophie's friend? He nodded. I smacked his chest. You conned me. He pulled me close. I transferred to harbor you and joined the marketing club just to get near you. When you beat me to the confession, I was over the moon, until you dumped me a month later. I was crushed. When Sophie told me you hadn't dated anyone since, I saw my second chance. I begged her to set up the roommate situation. He tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. 6 years ago, I came to your high school dance recital to watch Sophie. The moment you stepped on stage, I was done for. I followed you to harbor you, joined your club, everything. My mind raced. So Sophie knew you liked me, knew I'd dumped you, and still threw us together? That was my script, he admitted. I even knew when she dragged you to that male model cafe. I was jealous for days. When your coworker planned to confess, I was terrified. Watching you clutch your stomach in pain gutted me. Hearing you say you wanted me felt like winning the lottery all over again. He cupped my face. Olivia, I've loved you for 6 whole years. I sniffed. You absolute fool. He kissed me, and we spent the rest of the morning showing each other just how foolish we could be. When I finally begged for mercy, Mason, no more. He smirked. Am I still technically inadequate? I laughed breathlessly. The man never forgets. 6 months later, he proposed. Mason, Olivia, I love you. Me, and I love you. Thanks for listening to our story. If you liked it, hit like and share with friends. We'd love to read your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. See you next time.